If you've ever woken up in the morning ready to slay hump day, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today, the Wednesday, July 16th edition. It's going to be a PPI morning. So we got the CPI print yesterday, had a little bit of a weak market the rest of the day. Today, we get the PPI. We'll see what that does here for the market. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. As always, I hope y'all folks had a great Tuesday night. Did anyone else enjoy the All-Star game like I did? I guess is my first question. Let me overlay the chat here. No comments to this. I was going to say, what on earth is going on? Anyway, nice to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Pete, good morning. Paul, good morning. EKS, good morning. ChatGPT experienced a widespread global outage early today, impacting thousands of users and other OpenAI services like Sora and GPT AI. EKS, maybe that's why I didn't wake up to 1 billion emails today, because ChatGPT is down and people can't write emails on their own anymore. Maybe, question mark. I don't know. We'll see. Jay Rice, good morning. Jay Rice, the early bird here, Jay. Love to see it. UNFI, nice call from the Godfather. Be sure to tell him that when we see him here later today. Story Trading coming up right after our show here today. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Seabass, top of the morning to you and yours. Indeed, top of the morning to you. If I had a hat, I would tip it to you. Good morning. Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Anko is halted for news. Okay, let me add that to the list here. I actually didn't look at that here today. So we'll see what happens when that news is released. Yassine, good morning, my man. Welcome back. So fine. Good morning. Welcome back. Chuck, good morning. It's good to see you again. Ed, good morning. Producer locked in. Day Trader, good morning. C-Dub, good morning. Big Bees, good morning. Empyrean, good morning. You got one of your movers is up here today. Let's go. EKS, you. Plus 7% on earnings. Unity. Day Trader. Yeah, 5x the meme coin overnight in about 6 hours. Well, that's awesome. What was the coin and what was the catalyst? Really good stuff. Oh, I didn't play the intro. Oh, one sec. There you go, producer. We just ran it a little late. That's all. Thanks for the reminder. Get to the choppa. Good morning. It's good to see you. C-Max, good morning. Peter, good to see you. How's everything out in Colorado, Peter? Booglog, good morning. Stan, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Harris, good morning. Welcome back. Durkus, good morning. Harley, good morning. And that's true, producer. I really couldn't wait to get into it, but we played the intro. We got it done. You can't say I didn't do it. We did it. Kashara, good morning. Welcome. Beth, good morning. It's good to see you. Stock Trader for Life, welcome back. Kerching, welcome back. Von Rivera, cousin of Ron Rivera. Just kidding. Good morning. Welcome back. James, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Jim, good morning. ATL Russ, good morning. I gotta say, Russ, the All-Star festivities hosted by Atlanta this year, awesome. I enjoyed all of it. I guess I didn't really care much for the musical performances. I just think there's too many in sporting events, but otherwise it was awesome. Stadium looked awesome. Crowd was rocking. Game was fun. Well done by your home city. Definitely enjoyable, even for outsiders. Jonathan, good morning. Francis, good morning. Brandy, good morning. Chris, good morning. Seth, good morning. Tracy, welcome back. Barry, welcome back. Stefan, good morning. SJ, good morning. And Zoo, good morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at the market. We are, of course, waiting here for the PPI, which we get in 26 minutes. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Here is your chart. Here is the SPY. Now, we have been trading sideways recently, and it said that, a sideways market here, not terrible, especially when we're trading sideways right next to, or right below, in this case, all-time highs. Now, yesterday's candle finished up concerning, I would say, if you're a bull. We, of course, we were higher in the pre-market on the news of NVIDIA selling the chips to China, the H20 chips to China. That caused the entire market to trade up. Then we got the CPI print, which is pretty much in line. The market actually ticked up slightly after that print, but couldn't hold it really as soon as we opened. This market just traded down pretty much all day. We finished, I think, with 60-some million shares traded on the SPY, which is still kind of low, but actually like 20 million shares higher than what we've got the past several days. So notable there. And then the candle that it created, I don't know. There seems to be a little bit of a disagreement on what technically constitutes a bearish engulfing candle. Some folks think it just needs to engulf the body. Others think it needs to engulf the entire wick on both sides. That's the camp that I'm in. 13 pretty much just looks at the body. So we're a little bit different there. However, even with the slight difference or the slight technical difference, this is still a bearish candle, and it absolutely engulfed the previous range. We did set a new all-time high right out of the market and then traded lower here back into the range that we were at. So we do have kind of a bearish engulfing candle here today, which puts the PPI right in focus. Remember, that's going to measure the wholesale inflation. The CPI measures what the consumer sees on the inflation side. So definitely need to get through that print and see what happens here today. We'll see if that ends up bringing us lower. If it does, we're going to be looking at that 615 breakout level. Also going to be looking at this 614.66 level. That's going to be the 20-day moving average. Currently sitting at 622.21, and we are actually up off of the pre-market lows. S&P futures here about flat, down 0.02%. So we were a little bit weaker here in the pre-market. We've firmed up a little bit, but all of this comes prior to the PPI. So that's likely to change when we end up getting that. Let's go ahead and roll through some of the news. I did open up a new swing yesterday. We'll talk about that real quick, and I'll show you why I took that. U.S. futures trade mixed as the June inflation ticks up. ASML, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and Bank of America earnings are in focus. President Trump unveiled what he describes as a landmark trade pact with Indonesia, providing U.S. businesses with access to the Southeast Asian country while securing significant agreements for American aviation and energy firms. Markets are also assessing the CPI report that we got yesterday, showing inflation accelerated slightly in June. It was still pretty much in line in recent months. Jerome Powell has consistently resisted political pressure to lower interest rates, maintaining a wait-and-see approach amid growing uncertainty from rising tariffs. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.48, so it's worth noting that we're just shy of that 4.5 magical level. I say magical, but it seems to be a level that market participants pay attention to. I think if that 10-year trades above 4.5, you might actually see some more weakness in stocks, and we'll see what we end up getting here today. 2-year bond at 3.95 down there. All right, let's get into some comments here on the market. First one comes from our friend Louis Navalier, and friend of Tim Melvin, by the way. Louis Navalier said that Wall Street has finally figured out this is how President Trump negotiates. Some people learn slower than others, but that definitely seems to be the case, namely by making the other side increasingly uncomfortable. And I know this rubs some people the wrong way. That's just how it is. Be glad that he's doing the dirty work instead of us. At least that's the way I look at it. Citing that the stock market is largely ignoring the latest tariff news, such as the 30% tariffs on the European Union and Mexico and a whopping 50% on Brazil on August 1st. He added that, quote, the CPI report is not a market mover, so the PPI on Wednesday should provide more insight, especially any tariff impact on wholesale goods prices. Meanwhile, Ed Yardeni highlighted the CPI report for June, suggesting that inflation is no longer declining towards the Fed's 2% target. Instead, it might hover around 3% for a while, as it has recently. Quote, Trump's tariffs may be a contributing factor, though their impact remains debated. And we're going to talk about that here with ASML in a little bit. The core CPI inflation rate upticked to 2.9% last month, hinting that the core PCE deflation rate, which was at 2.7 in May, might follow a similar trend. The June CPI report reinforces the FOMC's cautious stance, and I think that this also really just kind of shows that the right move is not to cut in July. I think that the CME watch tool confirms that. It seems from discussing with all of you folks here, you don't really think that a July cut is necessary. And I think we're still in that in that camp, right? Restrictive until September really doesn't seem like the end of the world. In fact, it seems like the right thing to do. Although Trump's tariffs may not significantly be driving inflation yet, they appear to be contributing to inflation stalling around 3%, supporting the FOMC's hesitation to lower the FFR. So there you go. Now, next story here on the S&P rally. S&P 500 defies odds with a rare rally, but the toppy sentiment creeps in. This is something that we highlight every single day here. We talk about what it would take to break down or break up. We definitely are trading sideways here. Really, what is the next move going to be? The U.S. stock market has just completed one of its strongest 3-month runs in history, with the S&P 500 soaring 26% between April 9 and July 10, a pace of gains rarely seen. While historical analogs suggest further upside, signs of overheated investor sentiment are starting to worry market watchers. Now, a little bit of a pullback or a sideways move after one of the best or strongest 3-month runs historically probably isn't a bad thing. And frankly, as long as it does that, it probably sets up for another move higher on some type of positive catalyst. This is only the 6th time since 1950 that the S&P 500, as tracked by Vanguard's VOO, has gained at least 25% over the 3-month stretch. In every previous instance, the index delivered strong returns over the next year. So this positive here, setting us up for stronger returns. We'll see if we get some follow through. According to data from Carson Investment Research, the median forward 12-month return following such rallies is 18.5%, and all 5 historical cases saw positive returns over the next 5 months. Forward returns over 3 and 6 months also had a 100% success rate, with median gains of 9.7 and 15.1 respectively. Yet it's worth noting that short-term pullbacks often occurred, and I think this is really a key point here. We should not be scared off or changing our overall long-term thesis based on short-term pullbacks. Not only are they healthy, but they're often going to provide better entry for those that might have missed entry. That happens to me all of the time. So don't necessarily think that's a bad thing yet either. Often occurred in 4 out of 5 of the previous rallies. So short-term pullbacks, no stranger to what we're seeing here. We should kind of expect it. The index experienced a mild 1-month decline or pause. For context, the average 12-month return for all years since 1950 is 9.2%, making these post-surge periods more than twice as strong on average. And there's a table in here if you want to go through that. I'll drop this in the chat here for you. Let's see. The latest Bank of America Global Fund Manager Survey released July 15 confirms a dramatic shift in sentiment. Fund managers report their most bullish outlook since February of 2025, fueled by a, quote, record surge in risk appetite, end quote, and optimism around profits. The survey showed cash levels have dropped to 3.9%, triggering Bank of America's contrarian sell signal. A net 59% of managers say a recession is unlikely. We actually got that from Jeremy Siegel yesterday in the comments that we read, reversing April's 42% who believed one was probable. It's amazing how fast things changed when market prices change. 86% expect either a soft or no landing, while just 9% forecast a hard landing. These metrics, while bullish, are flashing some red lights. And shout out, Lion, you've been flashing a lot of red lights recently, so it looks like this is right up your alley. Bank of America described the sentiment as toppy and warned that the most vulnerable positions are now in short U.S. dollar, long U.S. tech, and long EU banks. All consensus trades that could unwind if macro conditions shift. Quote, greed is always harder to reverse than fear, end quote. Bank of America's chief investment strategist, Michael Hartnett, says that I would agree with this. When you're greedy, you just want it to keep working. And when you're fearful, man, you will run for the exit very, very quickly. Any upside surprises in inflation, earnings disappointments in the second quarter, or sudden spikes in bond yields could pressure this crowded long positioning, especially in tech and European banks. Now, remember, we're currently going through U.S. bank earnings right now, but we are getting set here for some tech earnings, and there's folks on both sides of this. I know Dan Ives is talking about all of the AI tailwinds and how great everything's going to be. And look, if he's right, that should be be great for the tech trade, but if he's not, we can expect some more pullbacks, especially in some of these names that have made huge moves recently. Looking at you, NVIDIA. The rally has been powerful and momentum is still on the bull side, but if inflation runs hot, earnings disappoint, or bond yields climb, the toppy sentiment flagged by Bank of America could quickly turn from a tailwind to a trap.
It's a trap.
All right. So this is definitely going to be something that we're watching here, where we are no question going to be paying attention to all of the earnings, but specifically the tech earnings when they start. In the meantime, we're kind of prisoners of data, right? Whether it's Fed speak, whether it's a CPI print, a PPI print, whatever data the market seems to be waiting for, we seem to be a prisoner of that moment. Okay, now the next story here, this is interesting, and I definitely want to get opinions from the group. Good morning to anyone else that I missed, by the way. Joshua, good morning. Lambo Rolls. What a name. Good morning. Maverick, it's good to see you again. Who else did I miss here? White Chocolate Mocha. Now we can start. Billy, good morning. And whoever. Kevin, I think I missed you. Good morning. Rooster, if I missed you, good morning. Bernhard, Michael, Adit, good morning. Okay. Now this next one here, this very, very interesting to me. Like I just mentioned, I definitely want to get your opinions. Good morning, Austin. It's great to see you. Trump set to sign executive order to unlock 401k access for private equity giants like Blackstone and Apollo. Now, first of all of these stocks that are publicly traded, they're up slightly here today on the back of this news. President Trump is reportedly set to sign an executive order that would make it easier for U.S. retirement plans to invest in private market assets. Think SpaceX, if you want an example for this. The executive order, expected to be signed in the next few days, would direct the Labor Department and Securities and Exchange Commission to issue guidance for employers and plan administrators on incorporating such investments such as private assets into 401k plans. The order is still under review and details are not final yet. If implemented, it could potentially allow large private asset managers such as Apollo and Blackstone to tap into a significant retirement savings held by workers without traditional pensions. Although some retirement plan sponsors already allocate funds to private investments, many remain weary of potential employee lawsuits stemming from higher fees tied to private market products. Industry executives believe that the additional steps, such as actions by Congress, will be needed to make companies more comfortable with including private asset funds in employees' retirement plans. Private market fund managers have been urging the Trump administration, to relax rules to allow easier inclusion of their products in retirement portfolios. Firms such as Apollo and State Street have already launched target date funds that incorporate private market component. So here's the one thing that I'll say about this. I definitely think that this is a good idea. You want people's retirement savings, you want them to be able to have exposure to some of these really big changes in valuation. Again, I think back to SpaceX. And I think back to where that started to where it is now, valued, I think, at like over $400 billion as of the last valuation metric. And there's really no way for people without large sums of money that participate in some of these investment funds to gain access to that type of appreciation. I also think that with the AI boom coming, or at least that's what everyone thinks here, there's likely going to be more big time deals, if you will, in private equity. And I think allowing average Americans to have a portion of this in their retirement plan just helps diversify portfolios further. And so I struggle really to think why this is a bad idea. I know I personally have a 401k, and I would love if a portion of that could be allocated to maybe a higher risk, higher potential return. Do it now. Do it now while we have all of this time so that my 401k balance when I'm ready to retire is significantly higher. I'm willing to accept the risk in order to do that. In May, the Financial Times reported that the Trump administration was considering a potential directive involving private funds and 401k retirement plans. The move to open up 401k to private markets comes amid increasing interest in private market investments, and reports of the world's super rich have shown a growing affinity for private credit offerings. However, the decision to offer private equity as an investment option in workplace retirement plans has been met with criticism. Senator Elizabeth Warren, I guess nobody should be surprised at this, has challenged Empower, a major retirement plan provider, over its decision to include private equity investments for their employees. Despite the criticism, Empower CEO Ed Murphy has defended the move, likening it to the introduction of 401k plans decades ago and emphasizing the importance of making private markets more accessible. And that really comes down to kind of the way I would summarize this. Yeah, we definitely want to make those more accessible, especially for people that want to use a portion of their retirement funds for that. Again, I'd be happy to listen to the any arguments against this, but I think that this is just kind of a straight up good move. Real quick. Okay, now before we get to Tim, I do want to talk about the ASML earnings report. I'll be brief on this. How much time do we have? Oh, we got still 10 minutes before the PPI comes out. We're golden here. So here's ASML. This does lithography for a lot of those chips. Stock is down 7.5% here today. If we look inside, we are near the lows, but we are up off the lows. We tried to bounce once here today. We'll see what happens when the market oh, I'm not sharing the chart. Thank you, producer. We'll see what happens when the market actually opens here. But ASML shares are trading lower after the company said it cannot confirm 2026 growth at this stage. So let's dive into here. Let me go back to the daily chart because I'm sure these are some of the levels that we're going to look at. Big one to note, 765 is your 50-day moving average. We're at 762, so we're right there. A pullback down to this level and a recapture of this level would be a really good thing to see. Furthermore, the 200-day is down a little bit further down there at 727. But let's get back to the actual story here real quick. Trump's tariff cast shadows over ASML's 2026 growth plans despite a strong Q2 and AI momentum. During the company's second quarter results on Wednesday, ASML's CEO Christopher Fouquet, is it Fouquet? Is it Fouquet? Y'all have to correct me on that. Said in a statement, quote, while we still prepare for growth in 2026, we cannot confirm it at this stage, citing growing uncertainties driven by macroeconomic and geopolitical developments. So the first thing that I want to highlight here is, I'm sure this is going to get talked about. It's very important to understand exactly what the CEO is saying here. We cannot confirm that we're going to grow. He goes on to say that we're still going to prepare for that. So not giving official guidance there, telling you that, hey, there might be something here in the future. This, to me, actually sets up, if the market firms up here or if the PPI sends the market higher here today, I actually think there might be some short-term day trading opportunities here on ASML. Let's see how it shakes out. We don't necessarily need to place that bet right now. Let's see how this behaves when it opens here. He adds that the fundamentals for AMSL's key AI customers remain strong, but acknowledge the growing threat of tariffs. Quote, tariffs on new systems and parts going into the U.S., as well as reciprocal measures from other countries, could impact our gross margin. So again, several things have to actually happen there and play out for that to be the case. The company nonetheless witnessed strong bookings during the quarter at $6.4 billion compared to consensus estimates at $5.6 billion. That's the AI tailwind that we talked about. In a forecast for the third quarter sales, however, estimated between 8.6 and 9.2, it fell short of analyst consensus estimates. While semiconductors were exempt from President Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, there is a lot of uncertainty surrounding chip-making equipment. During its second quarter results, ASML posted $8 billion in sales ahead of the consensus estimates at $8.7 billion, with a profit of $2.66 billion. Man, this company is a monster, against estimates of $2.37 billion. So again, and we'll talk about Tim's rankings here from time to time. Very strong rating on quality and growth. It's got a median ranking there on momentum and not great value, although it is not at zero. So ASML, let's watch this one here today. This very well might be in play for a short-term trade. If you have a long-term thesis on this, or if this is one that you were looking to add to your portfolio, I definitely watch some of those key levels there on the daily chart, see which ones hold and where we might be going next. Okay, it's 8:24. We got 6 minutes, or actually less than 6 minutes, until we actually get this PPI print. In the meantime, let's go ahead and say hi to Tim, one of our favorites here. Let me go ahead and bring him on. I got to figure out how to click the right thing here. There we go. Tim, good morning, my man. How are you doing here?
We are doing fantastic. Ryan, how's everything out there in Chicagoland today?
I'll tell you what, it's hot. It's hot and humid. It didn't even get down past 75 degrees overnight here in Chicago, and it feels like there's a wet blanket permeating the air out there. So, in a word, it's disgusting here. It is supposed to rain, and some of that rain is supposed to bring some of the heat out there. So we wait with bated breath on that. But also had a really fun time watching the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby last night. So we're doing all right here today.
Yeah, I skipped the home run derby because that to me just gets boring after a point of time. And watching guys wreck the second half of their season is just not fun for me because, it seems like every home run derby winner just bombs out for the rest of the season. So we'll see if that plays out again this year. But the kid stealing the home run, that was great. Right?
Have you ever seen that? You're older than me. Have you ever seen that?
No. I've never even seen anybody try. But hey, the kid had moves. So the best ending to this story is someday this kid grows up and ends up playing center field for a Major League Baseball team because it will be the greatest backstory since Joe Mauer and the Little League World Series win, going on to fame and glory, of course, with the Minnesota Twins. I just think that would be a very, very
I didn't even think about that. That's very, very cool.
The kid had moves, Ryan. He was getting it done.
He out jumped some of the other kids. He climbed the wall and he caught that ball. So, okay. Real good stuff here. Tim, really quickly, 4 minutes till we get this PPI print. I know you don't really care about data prints. You likely just crush a glass of wine, but I am going to interrupt and read that when that comes up.
I do pay attention to the inflation prints. And first, let me touch on the ASML report, not them specifically, but just guys, you're going to see this a lot in earnings reports this season. The confusion around tariffs and raw goods has people reluctant to predict what's going to happen over the next second quarters. The copper tariff in particular has people in technology, in manufacturing, in home building, they're rattled by that one because we don't even come close to producing enough copper in the United States to meet demand, right? I'm hoping wiser heads prevail here and somebody rethinks this one because all of the tariffs and the wild range we've seen on them are creating uncertainty. The copper one has people going, well, now I just don't know what the hell to do. Because a 50% bump on copper, that is enormous. It's one of the largest economic mistakes this administration has made so far. I'm not a fan of tariffs in general, but the market hasn't minded them. And in truth, it's, as I've said all along, the middle of the bell curve on this is 1.5% short-term hit to GDP, 1.5% to 2% bump in inflation. We can handle that. This is a much, much bigger problem for the U.S. economy. They need to rethink that one.
Okay.
So, but lots more of this uncertainty around tariffs coming up. It's going to become a big factor in second quarter earnings season.
And then really quickly, I don't know if you were on for the story that I had previous to that. Do you have any knee-jerk reaction thoughts to this opening up 401ks to private equity?
Oh, it's a crappy idea.
Why? Tell me why. Give me the other side of that.
Fee structure is too high. Private equity works on a call basis, right? You don't just send the cash in. You've got the cash until it's actually deployed. You can't do that with retail. So this money's going to have to go into a closed vehicle with limited liquidity, right? And the fee structure is going to be very high.
Well, so people shouldn't be withdrawing from their 401ks anyway. Why wouldn't you want to put that into a closed-end vehicle that maybe takes it to close to retirement time?
What if you put it in a private equity fund that sucked?
Well, I think, isn't that the risk with investing? What if I put my money in a stock that sucks?
Okay, you can sell it, Ryan. You can sell it. When they did this with real estate, it didn't work all that well. You were better off with REITs. Now, newsflash, first thought that hit the top of my brain. If you want to invest in private equity, okay, you can do it using the stock market and earn better returns without the fees. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole explanation until the other side of the PPI, but there were actually two studies done by two kids from Harvard. My favorite, Stan Rasmussen's of Verdad. He's done just like incredible work on the private equity industry. And we're going to touch it after the other side of PPI. But if you want to get what private equity is doing, I'm going to show you how to do that today.
Okay. Well, this is what I like then. So if you don't like something here, giving us a possible alternative to that, I absolutely love that. I love that.
Just a newsflash, none of the illiquid interval firms in alternative investing have worked worth a damn. Okay. It's been a bad idea to give retail commodity futures funds, illiquid real estate funds. It just hasn't worked because the incentive is and look, you give me a fixed pool of money and say nobody can take it out for 6 months. I'm, as the fund management firm, taking as much money out of that fund as I can over 6 months.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate the other side of that. I look at this and I think, boy, if I could have invested at SpaceX when it first started via private equity, I'd be pretty good in my retirement account right now, even if I don't have access to the funds.
SpaceX is venture capital, and here's what would have happened if you invested in SpaceX, right? Venture capital, they've got 100 firms in the fund, right? Nobody's going to let you make the direct investments in your IRA. Go.
All right, real quickly here. PPI, U.S. core PPI month over month for June, 0, literally flat versus the 2/10 estimate. Good read there. U.S. PPI year over year for June, 2.3 versus the 2.5 estimate. Light there as well. U.S. PPI month over month for June, flat versus the 2/10 estimate. And U.S. core PPI year over year for June, 2.6 versus the 2.7 estimate. All of those prints here, a little bit light. That should be good for the market. S&P futures continue to tick up here, 0.15% now in the green. Remember, this comes after being lower here early. Up we go. What do you think?
I haven't torn it apart yet, obviously. I'm going to suspect that most of that is going to be energy related, as has been the case with the last several PPIs. It is good news for the markets. It kind of offsets a little bit of the pressure that you saw yesterday in the CPI report. But again, everybody's pausing around tariffs. Do I expect to see Powell react to this? Not right now, probably not. September is going to really depend on the numbers we see coming out of August.
I agree. I think what you're going to do right now is you're going to look at these prints. You're going to say, okay, that's great, but we're still going to wait. This is not going to force them into making a move here in July. And I agree, Tim, some of the other data that we're going to see between now and September is likely going to drive that decision. So I don't even know if we can make a full-blown assumption yet, right? We are also going to be data dependent, to borrow the Fed's line.
Okay. Now, private equity. Let's get into that, okay? Because private equity has the highest rates of return as an asset class of pretty much anything else. Okay, that we know. There's all sorts of studies, all sorts of data and information out there. However, let's kind of step back. There's a couple studies that came out, one by Eric Stafford from Harvard, and he looked at it and he said, look, I don't need to give up my liquidity. I don't need to pay 20% on every nickel that's made. If I buy small cap stocks and I use leverage, just traditional margin leverage, I'm going to earn the same return over time as the highest performing private equity funds. And that's still true today. If you use small cap, value-oriented strategy, because newsflash, all private equity is a value strategy. Venture capital, now that's where you're talking about SpaceX. So now there are some, and ECAS is putting it up there, Destiny Tech 100, closed-end fund that has some SpaceX, OpenAI, and the others. But it's just part of the portfolio, right? So in your average venture capital fund, you have 100 investments that you made. One, if you get one to work, the one to hit the big number, and you get maybe 30% that just does okay, then the rest go to zero. That's a top performing venture capital fund. Okay. So if you're in a VC fund that doesn't have that one, then you're a complete dog and you underperform the market. So anyway, back to private equity. And this is my preferred strategy because using the margin strategy can trigger margin calls. You got to pony up more capital. I can handle that. A lot of people can't. They profess to like volatility until volatility happens. So until you've been through that cycle and had to meet a margin call, you don't really know whether you like volatility or not.
Fair point.
Okay.
Fair point.
But Dan Rasmussen, he runs a firm, Verdad Capital. They're very generous with their research, by the way. They post it on their website all the time. They send emails out. Very cool. He came out of Harvard and went to work for Bain, the private equity firm. For political junkies, that's the same Bain that gave us Mitt Romney. But moving on. Anyway, they came to Mr. Rasmussen and they said, "Look, you're the young guy in the poll. We got a big research study we're going to do here that we're going to send out to prospective clients. We want you to go back and look at every deal that we ever did in the entire history of our firm and come back with the empirical proof that it was our hands-on skill and expertise as management that made this work and made so much money for so many people." So Rasmussen does the study, crunches all the numbers, comes back and says, and I'm assuming this was his last meeting with management at Bain Capital, because he said, in truth, your expertise had nothing to do with it. Okay, literally nothing. And this is a top performing private equity firm, by the way. What you guys have done in Essentials, you bought small cap companies at low multiples of cash flow that have a lot of debt and have paid them back, have been paying it back. Now think about that for a second, Ryan. That's all private equity is. They buy a firm at a low multiple of the cash produced by the business. They lever it up, and then they use the cash flow over time to pay back the debt. So they've got this little tiny equity slice, this great big debt slice. As they pay the debt down, the equity slice grows. Right? That's all they're doing. You can do that in the public market. It's real simple. I'm actually going to give you the rules.
Okay.
Real simple. Small cap, 5 billion or less. I'm being generous. I like to use 2 billion, but we'll go 5 billion. Set your own risk threshold. They're no more than 5. I like 2 or less to get really down into the small stuff. Okay. Debt to equity over 1.
Okay.
Enterprise value to earnings before interest and taxes of 8 or less.
Okay.
Debt today lower than it was a year ago.
Okay.
Debt today lower than it was a quarter ago. I want to see guys actively paying back debt.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you're actively paying back the debt. And this has outperformed most private equity firms. I think like KKR and Apollo probably do a little bit better because, I mean, those guys are rock stars.
I tried to throw it in the chat, guys, but it looks like the formatting's kind of crappy, so I apologize. Then, basically, I have 5 different lines there. I just took notes on what Tim was saying, so there you go.
And then you want your F score needs to be over 6, so 7, 8, or 9. And then you want an Altman Original Z score of 1.6 or less. Oh, no, sorry, 1.6 or higher.
Z score of 1.6 or higher?
Yeah. And look, this is pretty rigid. You're not always going to get a lot of names, but then again, your private equity fund wouldn't always have a lot of names either.
Right.
Right now, because of where valuations are, and this is just one of the ways valuations are high. There's only 5 qualifying stocks.
Okay. Well, there you go. So that tells the story right there, frankly.
All right. Who wants to cheat and just wants the tickers? Yeah, all of you. Okay.
All right, here, let me repost that. We added a couple more things here. Don't worry, James, I'll take notes for you. I added some dashes, so it should make it easier for you to split apart on your end. But okay. Tim, let's go to the tickers. I'll take notes for that as well.
You're going to hate every one of these when you go in and look at them because they're not exciting at all. That is by design, all right? Okay. Crawford and Company, CRD.A. They do claims management and outsourcing solutions to insurance carriers. It's actually a fantastic business. We've owned this before. So CRD.A, stock's trading at about $10. DLHC Holdings, it's DLHC. And again, it's an outsourcing business for public health research and analytics. They work with the Department of Defense, Veterans Health, Human Services, Public Health, Life Sciences. Kind of a cool little company, way off anybody's radar screen, but it's sitting there and it meets all the criteria. Here's one I've actually never heard of.
Trading below book too.
PYYX is an agricultural company. The leaf tobacco. It's a vaping company. Go get them, guys. PYYX is that one. Look, by the way, these are small cap
and
companies.
this one's OTC. Okay.
Yeah, I was not kidding. These are small companies. Quad Graphics, which many years ago was a private equity LBO, QUAD. They're in the printing business.
Okay.
And then Sally Beauty Holdings, SBH, which is basically it's an ultra beauty without the nice furniture. I mean, what can I tell you? But it's does a pretty good business. The stock is super cheap, great fundamentals. They're actively repaying debt. There's your 5. Okay.
Okay, so here are that you weren't kidding. Not a lot, I guess, when valuations are high. Those 5 tickers there in the chat for you, folks.
Yes, and that anyway, Verdad has used that with a great deal of success. There's some cool timing stuff that they do around that. If anybody's interested, we can talk more about that at another time. But, as usual, Ryan, when I sat down last night, I thought, what the hell am I going to talk about tomorrow morning for 30 minutes? And by the way, whoever it was last week that put in there that said, boy, what a great guest. He doesn't talk enough. Look, you want me to stop talking? Ask some questions, okay? Brian brings me on here to talk, all right? Besides which, I'm married with granddaughters. I don't get to talk a lot, so give me a break.
That's a fair point. I will say, though, Tim, and folks, I'm just going to reiterate something Tim said there. If you have questions, ask. I will try to ask them. Tim will often just find them himself and ask.
Yeah, if I see
so
him,
don't be afraid. Tim doesn't shy away. We take questions on all this stuff.
Okay. Now I do have the end of second quarter, cheapest markets in the world as listed by the CAPE ratio. This is always a cool one that gives you some pretty interesting ideas, and we'll touch more on them in a minute. But the cheapest market in the world is, drumroll, for like the 8th quarter in a row, Turkey. It's trading at a PE ratio, a cyclical 10-year average PE ratio of 7.9. It also is trading at just 1.2 times book, and one of the lowest multiples of cash flow in the world. Now, there's reasons for that. Turkey's got a ridiculous government. Erdogan is one of those guys who's determined to hold power by any measure necessary. The central bank has, raised interest rates to skyrocket levels to slow inflation. The currency is absolute garbage. However, there's some really good companies in Turkey, like TKC, the cell phone company. I mean, that's a good company. At some point, Turkey gets its act together and this market becomes a top performer. There is kind of a ebb and flow to these things. Now, what was really interesting to me is Colombia and Brazil, which are both doing really well, are still really cheap. They started the year extremely cheap. Now they're cheap. Colombia has a CAPE ratio of 10, while Brazil also has a CAPE ratio of 10. If you want to compare this, guys, ours here in the United States is the second highest in the world at 36. India is a little higher at 40. So these markets are really cheap. Austria is trading at 12.5. I do like some Austrian banks. And again, don't really have time to get into it. Of real developed nations, the cheapest one is the UK at 15.2. And I do find that the UK is starting to get real interesting. So there are some bargains, NatWest's and Barclays Bank, come to top of mind, bargains that are starting to show price momentum. So this is just cheapest companies in the world by CAPE ratio. So I thought I'd share those with you today.
Okay, real quick, I do want to clean up a couple of these questions here. Joe's asking, what is the Z-score measure Tim mentioned? Is that the Altman Z-score that you've referred to before?
Yeah, that is the Altman Z-score. Edward Altman of NYU developed that back in 1968 as a measure of predicting financial distress. The higher the score, the less chance of distress. 1 point, the measure that I used in here is 1.8. That's right around, 1.6, right around the measure of a triple B bond in the current market, which is the average bond rating out there. And I see Lion Atlas disagrees with me about Turkish people love Erdogan, and that's fine. It just, I don't care what the people think of him. I really don't. I don't live there. I don't have any friends, no relatives. I don't care if his people like him, hate him. I don't really care. I want the market to stop hating him, and then the Turkish stocks will go up. From my perspective, that's what we're talking about, not Erdogan's politics. I don't really care.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect us. Here, one more thing. Lion was saying, what was the thesis for buying those 5 companies that you mentioned before? I know you kind of talked about this, but do you want to summarize that for him?
That's a private equity replacement strategy. These are small cap stacks that are undervalued based on the EV to EBIT, which is my favorite measure of the cash produced by a business, that are actively repaying debt. That's the secret sauce of private equity.
And I gave you those things that 7, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 7. Those 7 different factors that Tim mentioned. So okay, good. Cleaned up those questions there. Good stuff. Okay, keep going.
All right. Meb Faber of Cambria Investments sent out a list this morning that is just too cool not to talk about.
Okay.
It is 50 interesting facts from the first half of 2025. And it's just little tidbits slung out with the links to the research. Some of this stuff is really cool. For instance, Ryan, did you know that of all the servers, including AI and non-AI servers imported by the United States, and we import almost all of them, 70% of them come from Mexico?
I did not know that.
I did not know that either. Let's see, what's some of the others? If you had invested from 1960 to 90, this is a cool statistic. And this goes to, it really does matter when you invest and when you are born, as Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger pointed out. Being born at the right time factors into this. If you had invested from 1960 to 1980 and consistently beaten the market by just 5%, well, 5% each year is actually quite a feat, you would have made less money than if you had invested from 1980 to 2000 and underperformed the market by 5%, because the returns and economic conditions from 1960 to 1980 were not great. They were great from 1980 to 2000. Demographics and economic tailwinds do matter in all of this. Now, here's one that actually you should find it concerning. Palantir, great company, great business. It's, probably the future of data management and business decision making and a bunch of other stuff. But their stock-based compensation was $282 million over the last quarter of last year, which is 34% of revenue and nearly 4 times net income. More concerningly, annualized, it's more than the corporate revenue over the last year of Palantir. So stock-based compensation, a little out of control for the good folks at Palantir. Here's one.
Chart actually looks a little toppy, by the way, although it was strong yesterday.
Yeah, makes you wish you were him. Steve Ballmer receives $1 billion in Microsoft dividends each and every year.
Yeah, that would be nice, man. $1 billion for owning something.
Just
I can get used to that. Can play a lot of golf. Man.
Yes. Here's another interesting one, and another reason we rethink private equity and VC-owned companies made available to retail investors who, Ryan, let's face it, most retail investors, particularly 401ks, do no research. None. Yep. Especially 401ks, right? You get the little form from your country, from your company. They have some data, some verbiage in there about the right mix for your age. You go down, you check a few boxes, you send the form back, and you're never thinking about it again. Private equity and venture capital-owned companies now make up 16% of all U.S. bankruptcies, 4 times their share in 2010. Of the $3.7 trillion in profits the hedge fund industry has earned since 1969, $1.8 trillion has gone to the managers in the form of fees. So that's disgusting, actually.
Yeah, that is.
Nearly half.
I don't want to say anything, but since you did, that is pretty gross, actually.
And then, because we don't want to get too bogged down in this, just real quick, of all the scams reported on Zelle by J.P. Morgan Chase, who oversees Zelle, Meta, Facebook, was half of them.
Okay, wait a sec. Say that one. Of all
the scams on Zelle, all the Zelle payment scams, more than half of them originated on Facebook.
Okay, originated on Facebook. That doesn't surprise me, to be quite honest with you.
Yep. And then just real quick, electric vehicles, we talk about them all the time. Are we going to use them or are we not going to use them? And they're great. And driverless electric vehicle taxis and blah, 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 blah. We're talking a lot about something that doesn't matter all that much. Electric vehicles are less than 3% of the U.S. passenger car fleet at the end of 2024.
Okay.
So anyway, just some interesting stuff that came across. Faber also is the originator of a really neat 12-month high switch asset allocation model that over a very long period of time, 1970 to 1924, has clobbered the market with less volatility and a drawdown of about 50% less than the broader S&P 500 stock market. This is actually a really simple model, Ryan. Okay, now here come the rules. 5 asset classes. The S&P 500, use the SPY. International equities, EFA is the symbol there. U.S. real estate, V&Q. Gold, GLD. And commodities, PDBC, is the ETF that he suggests using. So we're going to look for the 12-month highs. Any of those 5 asset classes that's within 5% of its 12-month high, you put 20% of the portfolio in that. So if they're all within 5% of the highs, then you're going to have 5% in everything. If only 2 of them are, you're going to have 40% in those 2, 20 in each. The rest goes into intermediate term U.S. Treasuries. You can use IEF if you want to use that as an intermediate term Treasury ETF. This has actually way outperformed indexes. You can probably use it in your 401k. It's not quite to private equity returns, but it is better than the S&P 500, and you're not paying off anybody a whole bunch of fees. You're betting on asset classes, not one individual manager's likely performance. So anyway, just thought that was a very cool study that Faber had put together that I'd share with you. Really neat 5-year model.
Yeah. Real quickly here, Brittany here saying that the Facebook scams, that's from Facebook's online romance scams. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
There are a lot of romance scams especially on Zelle. But Facebook is scam.
How do these still work?
It
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I'm still trying to figure out how they do the investing groups with JP Morgan's chief strategist or Lilu or Manish Prabhat. None of these guys have trading groups. Roaring Kitty doesn't have a Facebook trading group where he's giving away free stock picks. They're on there every day. I go looking for cute pictures of my granddaughters, and I got to wade through all this crap.
See, that's interesting. Day Trader here saying Facebook is a cesspool. Look, I waved goodbye to my Facebook over a decade ago, and my life has been better from doing that. So I'm with you on that. Yep. Oh man, I can't believe that stuff.
Yep. Now here's one more that I think is definitely really cool. This is the lumber gold strategy, and it was first published 15 years ago. It actually won a technical analysis award, continues to be cited. And it's a real simple strategy. Each week on Wednesday, today, you take a look at 2 markets and only 2 markets. One's lumber, one's gold. You're going to use the near month futures for these, okay? Or you can use the cash markets, but this strategy uses near month futures. From 1987 through now, okay, today. Each Wednesday, you're going to look at it. If lumber is outperforming gold, you want to be allocated to stocks. If gold is outperforming lumber, that's risk off. You want to be allocated to cash, not gold. It's a risk on, risk off switch. It works, Ryan, remarkably well. Again, you cut the max drawdowns, you outperform your benchmarked averages with about roughly the same volatility. It does trade a lot. I will say that you're kind of moving in and out quite a bit now in today's world. You don't have to factor in commission, so it makes this a lot more attractive. You could use the SPY, you could use QQQ, which would actually give you a little bit better returns, but increase volatility a little bit. And you do this on Wednesday, not on Friday, because the rest of the world rebalances everything on Friday.
Okay.
So then, and I'm just going through some stuff that we read, and I'm going to jump on the rest of the stuff that I read, and we're going to jump to some other stuff. The P replicate. All right, going back through, we did take a look at what's been working really well over the last year. And we found one, it's one of my favorites. And long term, by the way, this continually beats the market, even in like the periods like the last 10 years where the market's been scorching. This thing does a tiny bit better. When the market's flat to down, it does a lot better. And again, really simple rules. All right. We're going to steal from Gary Antonacci. We're going to use dual momentum. So over the last 52 weeks, the stock has to have a positive return and it has to be beating the market. Okay. Both of those things must be true. Then we're just going to use an F score, and we're only going to buy the very best companies. It's got to be a 9 out of 9 for the Piotrowski F score. This has been beating the market this year. It's been consistently beating the market over the last, I saw somebody said, well, it's been beating the market over the last 30 years. And since Piotrowski didn't actually write the study till 2000, we'll go ahead and start it at 2001. And it's been beating the market by about a 3-to-1 margin. Over the last 5 years, as the market momentum has gained, it has crushed the market. And you've got some very cool stocks in here. You've got Howmet Aerospace. That's been a momentum favorite.
What ticker?
HWM, and it is in the aerospace business, which has been hot, defense and aerospace. Perfect fundamentals, beautiful chart. I mean, I don't know if you have the chart up there. Yes, you do. Just a beautiful chart on that. That is a momentum dream.
This reminds me of LMB.
Yeah.
Just the chart, the way the chart looks, it looks the same.
Yeah, and the fundamentals of this company are just absolutely perfection. Right. So that's what you want to see. And then Adtalem Global Education, that is ATGE. It's post-secondary education. And they're they're in your neighborhood, Ryan. They're in Chicago. So you can get degrees in really important stuff like public health, social work, human services, public administration, public policy, and criminal justice. Here's your next wave of government employees, guys. But there's also nursing, education, and the medical and veterinary degree and non-degree programs. So again, the fundamentals are absolutely perfect and the stock's doing pretty well,
I'd say.
And then we've got RSG, Republic Services. Hey, guys, somebody's got to pick up all that trash.
And we are trash making machines, as we've always said.
We are trash making machines. And then we have Parker Hannifin, PH. And again, just fundamentals are perfect. It's outperforming the market, and the return is positive over the last 52 weeks. Really decent chart.
Look at where this chart is too, man. Oh man, this to me sure looks like this wants to try and break 610 and go north.
Yeah, and look, this is, by the way, a big winner of tariff policies, right? Because this is manufacturing, packaging, processing, transportation, agricultural, military. It's aerospace, and they're do a lot of business in the military aerospace market. So this is a potential huge tariff and trade policy winner. In the meantime, even without that boost, the fundamentals are already, as measured by an F score, pretty close to perfect. And again, now you've only got 13 stocks. And keep in mind, there's absolutely no valuation analysis into this. Is it beating the market? Is the return positive? Are the fundamentals perfect? If all those things are true, we're owners. So Core Civic is in there. For-profit jails, lots of contracts with ICE, so that's going to be kind of a big business.
What was the ticker on that one?
That's Core Civic, CXW.
CXW, okay.
Urban Outfitters, which to me, and it's because I'm old and not hip, and or maybe I'm so old I am hip. I don't know how that goes. But Urban Outfitters has never made sense to me. I've never been in at one of their stores and said, "Oh wow, I want to buy that." But somebody's doing it because the stock continues to be excellent. The fundamentals of this business for retail are fantastic. So Urban Outfitters is on there. VCTR is Victory Capital. They make the list. So anyway, this is just the best companies as measured by fundamentals that also have price momentum. And Victory Capital is just it's investment management basically.
Okay.
And by the way, somebody did said they like OWL for private equity replacement, OWL. And I'm just going to say that's not a bad idea. I love OWL as an alternative asset manager. I think they're one of the better ones, particularly on the credit side. They run one of the better business development companies, OBDC. They've really made some smart acquisitions. They are real good at the middle market lending package of this and being the conduit between middle market companies and large alternative asset managers. So they're acting in many cases as kind of a middleman, but their own BDC, OBDC, is one of the better run BDCs out there. We like it a lot. So that is that. I forget who said it, but with a 10% dividend, that's not the worst play I have ever seen on alternative credit and private assets.
Okay.
So that's just kind of my point. I don't think that we need to give up the absolute liquidity because I can recreate for you private equity and private credit without giving up the liquidity.
Okay. Real quick here, two things, and then we'll get to 13. Kevin is asking, Tim, what do you think about the McGraw-Hill IPO as it has good fundamentals?
Haven't really looked at the prospectus. McGraw-Hill's a great business, been around absolutely forever, but I'd need to really take a deeper look than just coming in and saying, "Oh, I like it" or "I don't like it."
Yeah,
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's one thing, as I've said a number of times, if we don't know, we're going to tell you we don't know. We're not going to BS you. And then also here, Blaze Rhino said, what were those tickers? And you know what, Tim? I'm sorry, I slacked on it. If you can go through the tickers real quick, I'll type them and put them in the chat. The ones you just reviewed.
F-score, HWN.
Yep.
ATGE.
Yep.
RSG.
Yep.
PH.
Yep.
VCTR.
Yep.
URBN. NCXW.
NCXW.
No,
there you go.
No, just CXW.
Oh, excuse me.
I said NCXW.
Yeah. CXW at the end there, not NCXW. Those tickers there in the chat. Okay, Tim, thanks a lot. Really, really good stuff here. Again, we're all accustomed to that by now, so thank you very much. Anything else you want to finish off with here?
No, I think that's about it for me this week. I had a whole bunch of other stuff, but we don't have time. I'll save it for next week. If anybody wants copies on research or anything that I said today, let Ryan know, and I'll get links to you guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
And also, just a preview, not only will Tim be back in the morning show next week on Wednesday, but we're also having a webinar in the evening, and I would be happy to provide registration links to that for anyone that is interested.
You really don't want to miss that one, by the way.
Nope.
This is not just going to be something where we discuss. We're going to give you some great stock ideas. This, it'll be worth the time of listening to me blather for a little bit longer to get these particular 6 stocks. So we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great week. Stay profitable. Stay sane.
Tim, love it. Thank you. Take care, and we'll check in with you next week. That is Tim Melvin. Another morning of awesome stuff from him, as we have become used to. Also, his departure leaves room for 13, so we'll go ahead and check in with 13 here. Also, 13, good morning. How you doing, my man?
Well, hello. How are you? How is everybody? I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we want to look at first? Because there's not as many movers this morning. Well, not 100% runners anyway. But there are some things that are making some pretty interesting moves. One of which that's not on the list. SBET finally over 30. Congratulations, everybody that was holding for that. That's went up to 34.10 this morning. It's backing off now. Might not be done. We'll see. We're getting a lot of news in these crypto treasury names. So that's one of them.
Okay, well, let's just go through them then. There was another one, ONCO, that was on here. It looks like that's having kind of a wild morning. And you know what? I don't see it at the top here. Also, there's some news on BMNR I think we need to cover. It looks like day traders are already kind of looking at that. But let's take a look at ONCO. This actually got requested earlier, and I don't see it on the list unless I'm just missing it. Nope, don't see it. Aha, this is why. So, all right, on Kinetics. This looks like this popped initially, went from about 4.75 up to 7, and now it's actually gone red, down almost 14% here. Let's check and see what the news is. Onconetics and Ocuvex Therapeutics announced execution of a definitive merger agreement. Onconex to acquire all issued and outstanding equity interest in Ocuvex. Ocuvex equity holders to receive Onconetics common stock equal to 90% of issued and outstanding equity interest in the combined company. So it looks like we've got a merger agreement here for ONCO. The initial reaction was positive and a massive reversal that's now sinking us double-digit percents to the downside. Quick look around the horn here. You might not have prepared for this because this thing had completely turned around here, so that's totally fine. Really quick, 17.9% of the float shorted as of the most recent short interest update that comes on 1 day to cover and on 290,000 shares of volume. The one thing about this one's micro float, 510,000 shares in the float. We've already traded 1.6 million today. So 13, I know this is probably not a mover that we prepared for here today, but maybe we see something here from the chart. Interestingly enough, this popped on Tuesday. Positive decision by the NASDAQ hearings panel. So that popped and dropped. And then this morning we got a merger agreement pop.
Because it was getting a delisting notice from NASDAQ.
And look, David, on top of this one, this thing did a 1 for 85 reverse split back in June. No bueno. That comes after a 1 for 40 in September of last year. Not great.
So delisting, the reverse split on June 11th, and now we're being told that they're going to acquire a company. And I have to wonder, with what cash? So with that in mind, because this company loses, last quarter it lost almost $10 million. It has $1.5 million in the bank. What cash? So this could, they could raise capital through an offering. That's what I'd be concerned about with this. And they're going through all the motions that one company does go through when they get a delisting notice and they have to restructure their shares. They do a reverse split. They need to raise capital. And hey, look, because their float's so low, and it's a 510,000 shares now.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and issue more shares and raise some capital. So I expect that's what they'll do.
Okay. Hope nobody was in this one. We'll see if this firms up or somehow turns around, but no bueno here this morning. Ticker ONCO. All right, let's cover some other ones that you likely did prepare for. I'll go and Savan wants to take a look at MP. I have some thoughts on MP after a couple of our discussions. So yes, I'll add that to the list. We'll get to that one. Next here, though, on the top of the list here, this is NUWE. This is one that we've traded several times in the past before, either off the scanner or off of a newsprint. This moved higher in the after hours yesterday and took 2 legs up here today in the pre-market. Shares are trading higher after the company announced it secured a U.S. patent for extracorporeal blood filtering machine and methods. Sounds like something I don't necessarily want to be a part of, but nonetheless, stock is up 146% today on the back of that headline on the patent. Quick look at the short interest on this name, 3.94%, down massively from the 57%. And actually, that did look like legit short covering. Either there was an error in the data or they covered up some of those shorts there. This has come in drastically. 1 day to cover, and that comes on an average volume of 306,000 shares. Today, we've traded 18 million plus. So what do you think here on our top mover, NUWE?
Well, it's good news on their patent. That device is, you're going to see that for use in people suffering from sepsis. So they need to have their blood sent to that machine to filter out all the bad parts. I don't know the right terminology, but this has 4.37 million shares in the float. It looked like they need cash, but because we just had Q2 finish up, I don't know that they have reported. That's one thing I didn't look at is when they last reported, but they did have an offering on June 9th. So I'm not sure that the cash position that we have from their on their financials tab here accurately reflects what they actually got. So I think that with that June 9th offering out of the way, I think they raised about 5 million, maybe just less than $5 million. That should be enough to help them move forward for the time being. So I don't think there's any risk of them putting an offering out right now, since they just did it last month. The stock itself, looking at the chart, it appears like it's trying to turn around and push back up higher. Looking at $18 as the next level that it's moving towards. Looking at the chart here in the pre-market, $18 has been a site of rejection. There's no closes on the 5-minute chart of any candle above 18, despite printing as high as 1880. So when we, if we do manage to get back up towards $18 or toward in that area, I'd expect there to be, hopefully there's some increased volume to push through that level, as I expect there to be some sellers in the way, keeping it from going higher. So I think we'll want to keep an eye on that $18 level for NUWE. Ryan, you are muted.
That's right, because I want to go blow my nose, of course. Thank you. Yeah, that $18 level looks perfect there for NUWE. We'll see if we get some more here. Just keep in mind, stocks extended here, plus 146%. Next one that we have here on the list is ticker QLGN. This is Qualigen Therapeutics. The stock moved from about $3.50 yesterday to over $7 here today. We're actually just shy of $7. Looks like we're kind of bull flagging here on this 5-minute chart. Quick look here on this one. Qualigen granted new patents covering 25 countries. The patent titled Substituted Naphthalene Diamides and Their Use covers 20. I bet they line up to read that one. Anyway, we're getting that PR here today. This is up nearly 100%. Short interest on this 3.69% with 1.81 days to cover. That comes on, this thing's one of those complete ghost towns here. 23.8 thousand shares per day. So this trades just shy of 24,000 shares per day, but this also one of those micro floats, 735,000 shares in the float. What do you make of this one, 13?
So this is another patent, but this one's for a drug that aids people with pancreatic and gastrointestinal cancer. So it didn't look too deep into that. So because the drug isn't, that's not the big thing I was trying to focus on here. They got a patent, great. That's why it's moving up, and it's doing that on 735,000 shares. So very low float, very easy to move around. I don't have this up on my broker, so I don't have a great shot of the chart. There we go. The company did go through a little situation here where they delayed their quarterly filing back in May. But they did end up, I think they did end up filing it in June. So I believe that's out of the way. They did receive a notice, a deficiency notice from NASDAQ, but I think that might be out of the way now because they did file their Form 10. So I believe that's done. The only other issue is that the company does need cash. Tell me if you heard this story before. And they have about a quarter's worth before they're going to be out of it, or less than they need to keep going. They did do an offering back in November, but that was a long time ago, like half a year ago. So I think they're at risk of needing to raise capital again. So this is one I'd be careful with. They could raise capital as early as today. Okay.
Good stuff there, QLGN. We'll see if we do get that capital raise. Okay, next here on the list is going to be GAME. This is Game Square Holdings. This is another one of those Bitcoin treasury strategies. Am I right? Yeah. So yesterday, after hours, Game Square schedules a conference call to review the $100 million Ethereum treasury strategy. Let's go ahead and put that on the altcoin treasury. So that's what's driving this here. Was there anything else in this? They're going to schedule a conference call so I wonder what they're going to cover in that conference call. That might be interesting. It might be how they plan to do this, what they plan to do with the funds. That might be worth listening to. Nonetheless, stock is popping here by 69 cents this morning, up 45.7% here today. Let's do a quick check around the horn on this one. 2.4% of the float shorted here with 1.35 days to cover, and it has an average volume of 3.1 million. So unlike some of these others, actually trades a little bit more liquid. Today, we've already seen 17 million shares. So what do you think on this one, ticker GAME?
Well, it seems like a lot of the big moves have happened, and it seems as though the based on the price action that folks are just waiting for that conference call to happen at 12 p.m. I'm getting that sense. Like it's not really volatile right now. It's not necessarily selling off, but it's not blasting off either. So it may just be that some folks are sticking around to wait for that conference call at 12. Some might not want to, and they may sell out of the gate here. So just keep that in mind.
And really quickly, 13, thank you, producer. The call is listen only, so there actually won't be any questions in that call.
But still, that's going to the people that are listening are going to react to whatever's said there.
Bingo.
But appreciate that there's not going to be any back and forth. That's helpful to know. 36.5 million shares in the float. A little on the heavier side, but not so heavy that it's not going to move in ways we prefer. No read on the financials. Maybe I should have double checked that and see if I could bring it up on the annual chart. But so I can. Their income, they lose half 50 million, almost 50 million a year, and they don't have a good cash position. So you have that going against you as well. They could raise capital. I didn't dive into whether or not they when the last time they rose capital was, but it looks like they just did it back on July 9th. So it's not going to reflect in that on the balance sheet. So it looks like they just raised capital, and there's probably not a risk of that happening again soon.
Okay. Good stuff there on GAME. Next one I have here is APM. It looks like this is moving. Then we'll get to PEW here. That's not on the list, likely because it doesn't have a price from yesterday, so it can't be calculated. APM here, this was just shy of $1 yesterday. We traded up above $1.70 here this morning. We take a look at the news here on this one. Aptorum Group and Diamar Biosciences enter into a definitive merger agreement. All-stock merger agreement, Diamar to become wholly owned subsidiary while retaining the name and a NASDAQ listing to continue post-merger. So an all-stock transaction here. This is it looks like the acquiring company will stay trading. This is up 70%. Quick look around the horn on this one here. 0.97% of the float shorted on 1 day to cover. Let me just make sure. 1.2 days to cover. On average, stock trades 84,000 shares. Today, we've traded 3 million plus. What do you think, 13?
It seems like this is a ghost town because this doesn't get any news until something like this happens. Because last few articles of just looking at the last 3 articles, you're going back to April. So anyway, with this one, didn't cover this one, but it looks like it has a history of opening on news and then kind of selling off a little bit. That's what happened the last time in December, January. Since then, it hasn't really done a whole lot. Every time that we've had any kind of move, the next day it's back down again. Let's see here. Float 3.4 million. Looks like APM is going through NASDAQ compliance issues. Probably not an issue now since they are back over $1. This is also a Hong Kong company. Is that my understanding?
Let's see what we got here. Doesn't say, but let's check the company's homepage.
Registered in Cayman Islands, so far looking like it. And here we go, Form 10. What does this say? Cayman Islands. There's a New Jersey address. I don't know for sure. But
are we talking about the same stock, APM?
Yeah.
Here's the website. They have a London headquarter.
I'm sorry. No, that was Form 10. What the heck? Anyway. Oh no, that was for a different company, but it had APM attached to it. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. So So I was wondering if this was a U.S. company or not. It doesn't appear to be. It's a foreign company. UK. That's what I've got.
Okay.
Anyway, so let me just to wrap this up here. I don't know what to make of this. I just be looking to the left for different areas of supply and demand. because didn't cover this one, so I don't know enough about it to really talk much more on it, except that it's got a NASDAQ notification regarding their minimum price efficiency.
Yeah, I don't know that this chasing this 80+% move is on the game plan here for today. Two more here real quick that I want to check, and then we'll take a look at PEW. DPRO, Sideshow, Yakshamash, asking about this one. What about the news? So first of all, yesterday, 360 to 480 here today. Actually, it looks like we're trying to take out the VWAP as we speak. Benzinga did an exclusive here on this today. We actually had the news out half an hour before the PR and the huge rip that you're seeing. Shout out Benzinga Pro and our news desk. Dragonfly tells Benzinga's the Commander 3 XL UAV selected by a major branch of the U.S. Department of Defense for advanced operational initiatives. They also told us, quote, this delivery supports next generation deployment initiatives focused on advanced reconnaissance in combination with operational capabilities. And Dragonfly's Swiss Army knife drone they call this drone the Swiss Army knife drone. That's the deal that they have here with the Department of the Defense. So let me actually go ahead and add this to the drones list because I don't think I have this one on there. I don't. There we go. Added to our drones watch list. Stocks up 20%. Quick look around the horn on this one. 8.79% of the float shorted on 1 day to cover. Average volume 1.14. Today we've traded 14 million. Floats 12.7 million. Sideshow, going back to your question here, my knee-jerk reaction on this is that this is a good thing, right? This is a contract here with the Department of Defense for a budding drone company. Remember, we just got the headline from Hegseth saying that they're going to fast track a lot of the drone capabilities and all of that. So this actually fits into that thesis here. 13, what do you think on this one?
I think they misspelled Dragonfly. This is a Canadian. This is a Canadian company.
Yeah, but they also misspell things like color and labor. Okay. We don't need to fight about that. Keep going, 13.
Okay, so yeah, they do that. It looks like they aren't profitable yet. They do have some revenue. Seems like they'll be, they may need to raise capital, but if they're just being selected here by the U.S. Department of Defense, money should be coming. Just don't have anything definitive yet right now, like as far as figures go, right? Because we just have the news that they are getting they were selected by the U.S. Department of Defense. But
yeah, and I'm skimming and I'm skimming through the actual PR itself. I see no numbers. 13 to your point.
Okay, so it seems like they're not going to be needing to raise capital, but if they do, it's because they haven't received money from over this yet. And 12.7 million shares in the float. Let me look at the chart here and see what I can get as far as levels go. But yeah, I don't have much more to add on that. Let's see here.
Chart on the daily actually looks good. Looks like this thing really wants to test 5 and maybe break above. I do see some resistance there at 555. See if we can get that today. It does look like it's bottomed here.
It does look like it's bottom. It does look like it's curling up. Look at the past 2 times we've been up here around 440. That would be on June 10th and July 11th. So pretty much a month apart. Both times they popped up, they went right to 440. We are really close to 440. What did we end up getting on this impulse move? We went up to 488, and before we came back down. So it seems to me like 440 is still pretty much important level here. Look at the price action since we came back under 440 this morning. Keep knocking on that very same door where just about where VWAP is, trying to get back above it. 440 is going to be the resistance area. We break through that. I look at the 488 pre-market high, and then we have, what's the next area? We have a basically a whole demand zone above that from December of 2024, and that extends all the way up to about 540. 550 almost. So that's those are the areas I'd be keeping an eye on. Big demand zone beyond 440.
Okay, real quick, I just wanted to cover this.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Really quickly wanted to cover BMNR because this is one that we've been trading recently. This popped in the after hours yesterday, took another leg up today, and this is actually on 2 pieces of news here. 13D shows that Mozani X UGP reported a 9.9% stake in the company as of July 8th. And perhaps more importantly here, another 13G shows that the Peter Thiel linked FF Consumer Growth discloses a 9.1% stake in the company. So Peter Thiel's name being added here on a rather large stake. This comes to about 18 or about 20% of the company on BMNR. Stock is up 17.6%. We've seen this one move quite a bit recently. Well, we talked about the Ethereum treasury strategy and all of that here. So BMNR, more good news here, and this actually owned by some pretty big power players. So trade that with you will, or take that for whatever it's worth. The stock likely to be in play here again. Any thoughts on that, or should we go to PEW here?
Don't like the formation that it's been putting in the after hours and pre-market. It seems to me like this, I guess what, $45.50, $45.50. That appears to be an important support level. If we lose that, I think we're coming down probably to some of the highs from the regular session yesterday, maybe even down to 42. That would be my thought if we lose 45.50. So, and that's about, and it's also being supported by the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. So I think that's a spot I'd be keeping an eye on. If we start to break down, we lose that, I think we're going lower.
Okay, really good. Makes sense to me. All right, PEW, grab a gun. Pew pew. Awesome ticker. All right. Grab a Gun Digital shares are trading higher as the company begins trading on the New York Stock Exchange following a business combination with Columbier. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Acquisition Group. So you guys are arguing there about the percentage gain. Yeah, it IPO'd here today, so there is no closing price yesterday. It does look like Pro here is measuring this off of the open, which was right around $18, $17. Yeah, 17 and change here looks to be the opening price. So new issue here, Pew. It's called Grab a Gun. I don't know if you're familiar with this business at all. Let's take a look and see what kind of stats we get. No float reading here. I'm really not surprised to see that. This is a multi-brand e-commerce retailer of firearms, ammunition, and related accessories. Don't know if I've ever used this before myself. Nonetheless, begins trading here today. And this is going to be your IPO. Your hot one here. Don't really have any average volume stats because it's IPOing right now, and also don't have any float. Dan O is saying that there's 23.41 billion as per FinViz. Let's check Know the Float and see if they have any reading for this here. It's going to be ticker PEW. I'm sorry about my nose. My God. Anyway, here is what I got on Know the Float. I got nothing. I got no float reading. I'd be weary of that FinViz reading.
So if you want to get an idea of what this was trading like prior to the merger, you look up CLBR. This was the ticker of the company that is merging with Grab a Gun. So, and your broker might have that incorporated with with Pew's chart, but if it doesn't, that's how you would see all the prior price action.
Okay, and it might be doing the percent change or the change numbers based off this 1724 closing price.
I don't know. Like I don't know about this one today. Maybe it trades better later, but I don't have an opinion on this one right now or any idea where.
You're talking PEW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, the only way I can really think about trading this would be just really based on its VWAP. We have very little information on this. Learn with Moses saying that Trump Jr. is a member of the Grab a Gun Digital board of directors. So he's an investor in it. It is not halted. Whoever keeps talking about this being halted, that is not the case. Stock is absolutely not halted. Remember, stocks do not halt in the pre-market or the after-hour session on volatility. They only halt on news pending. So, no, I don't know. Maybe it was halted earlier. I obviously haven't been watching it, but no, it's absolutely not halted. I see prints right now.
Yeah, and it seems like it's pretty illiquid. I don't see any bids or asks coming in. Maybe that's just my broker, but looking at the chart, it's got to hold above VWAP going into the open here. Otherwise, down it goes. 1990, 1980. That seems to be about where the next support could kick in. But let's see what happens at the open. It's getting the support from VWAP right now. 24.99 is the current high.
Okay, multiple people here saying Robinhood is showing it is halted. Folks, I don't know. I can't explain what Robinhood is doing. I can confirm to you 100% it is not halted. I literally see prints trading across the tape. So unsure what Robinhood is doing or why they're saying that. Maybe that was something in the past. It is open for trade right now.
So Chopped Coop is saying, good morning, by the way, saying Junior ringing the bell this morning.
Don Jr. is ringing the bell? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what he's saying. Tell me, are they? Is he here because of Pew, or is he there because of Pew? Anyway,
and interestingly enough, they just scrolled the ticker across the bottom, and they actually called it CLRB's name, right? So they're saying ticker Pew is or what was the last ticker? I keep screwing these up. CLBR, good Lord, Columbia Acquisition Corp. So there we go.
15 seconds till the open. We are seeing Pew kind of leak beneath its VWAP right now. We'll see what we get out of this open here. Good luck, everybody.
Gonna be another good day. PPI taking us higher. Let's see if we sell off like we did yesterday.
All right. So we are open. Let's look at some of these movers. NUWE, that's ripping here. So that took out 18, no problem.
Sure did.
And it's going to probably halt into this move here. So there's number one.
Here, I'm actually going to keep PEW on one of my other charts so I can kind of keep an eye on this. I doubt I trade that, though.
DPRO moving up next now. That looks like it's trying to go for the highs of the pre-market, which is about 488.
Ondas getting smoked right out of the gate on no news. Not sure what's going on there.
And NUWE is halted.
2085, your halt price there. NUWE. Pew continuing to come in a little bit. Looks like it just lost 21.
Remember, NUWE, this is the one that has the patent for the blood filtering machine.
Okay.
Looks like QLGN found some support down at the consolidation from the, what is this, the pre-market. When we had the big impulse move, we had a little bit of some resistance at about 550. That's about where we're getting the support. It's trying to turn the stock around and recapture VWAP. What else is looking good here? Game. Now, Game hasn't done a lot, but I think that we were talking about is the reason why, because they have that conference call at 12
Sorry to interrupt here. Rigetti just ripping out of the open. I'll see if there's any news. Get back to it, 13.
Well, actually, Rigetti, do you have a daily chart up on that?
I was, here.
Ta-da.
Right through the trend line that you knew was there. Really, really impressive.
There we go. So I think I'd be looking at that May 27th high as the next area of resistance. That's going to put the high at 1530. The open was 1304. I'm sorry. The open was 1497. Sorry, I moved my mouse a bit there. So looks like about $15. You're going to run into some resistance there. And it looks like, what is the price of that right now? It's right at the edge there. Did it even hit that $15? Okay, $14.89 was the high.
Yeah, so, no, I don't have it printing that.
So $15, I'd be keeping an eye on for resistance. As long as this volume continues, it shouldn't have a problem getting through that. It looks like it is going to go through 15.
Jay Rice mentioning open here. I did talk about it briefly. I didn't. Maybe I did actually. Yeah, I did. I linked the thread to that thesis here yesterday. Open. This is really good. I did not buy it, Jay. I did not buy open yesterday. Kind of wishing I did on your alert. Really good alert here from Jay, though. This continues to trade up here. Another 24% here today.
We have to look at ITMSF.
ITMSF. Okay.
Yeah, this is ripping as well. This is an OTC stock. That's because it has 5 letters in the ticker. It's usually an indication that it is. This is ripping on what's the news here? Come on, bring up the news. We're having a little bit of some issue with the charts in the news feed this morning, so it's a little slow for me. Does it say what the news is for ITMSF? There we go. Don't see any news today. There was a Form 6 that was filed on Friday. That's the most recent news I have.
Intermap is a story trading stock and a money Mark Gomez stock. It's starting to rip on the upcoming geomapping contract for Indonesian something.
Okay.
Got cut off there.
Okay, no, that's actually helpful. So there is an expectation of a contract. So what is this? Buy the rumor, sell the news kind of play then? Sounds like it, but we'll see. You tell me anything about it.
Webcoin. So real quick here. First of all, yes, we did have some issues earlier with the feed. Those have been resolved completely. By the way, we actually just confirmed that. OTC. When you pull up an OTC stock, expect some delays in both the news feed populating and the chart, as that is not our primary coverage universe. By the way, PEW doing its best TLC impression here, just waterfalling right out of the open. Look at this, right back down to where it started.
I guess Don Jr. ringing the bell doesn't carry any weight. But yeah, this is we lost VWAP. Went right through the $21 level all the way down through the 65 EMA. Next is the 200 EMA at 1750. Meanwhile, waiting for NUWE to unhalt. That should be pretty soon.
Here, I'll actually leave this on the screen. I have to go blow my nose again.
Okay.
I don't know what is wrong with me. BRB.
Sounds good. So we should see NUWE open shortly here. QLGN, this had one attempt trying to recapture its VWAP, was not successful. Here we are in the next candle, next 5-minute candle, trying to recapture VWAP now. Looks like 640 still a bit of a resistance area, 646 to 650. That's what the last candle we observed was getting rejected at. So see if we can take that out. Game still sideways, trying to move above VWAP, not being able to do so. APM, this continues to sell off after hitting 190 in the pre-market. No sign of a bottom quite yet, but I have a suspicion it might be closer to $1. SBET 32 dips, says Billy F. Let me take a look at that. I haven't looked at SBET this morning. So popped up to 34.44 just a moment ago. Now we're selling off. Looks like you're going to get some support about 32.71 where the 65 EMA is. Here we are right there right now. It's getting a little bit, but is the selling pressure too great? Looks like it. After that area, the next support that I could see would be somewhere around 31.61 to 31.05. So that 50 to 60 cent range might provide some support.
Okay, sorry about that. Hopefully we're good here.
No worries. Still waiting for NUWE to unhalt. I imagine that's going to happen soon here, unless it's for a different reason. Game, here we go. We just moved through VWAP. There's a big seller in the way at 225. That either is going to clear the way for it, or it's going to push or walk it back down. Looks like so far it's just letting up.
That NUWE halt looks like just a volatility halt, so we should absolutely be getting that opened up here pretty soon.
Yeah. What else is looking? So Kevin is mentioning Joby. That's going up. Qs are off the highs. UMAC up 7%. Pew halted. Did it halt?
Yes, looks like. Well, I don't see prints this time. I don't have it listed here in the signals as a halt here, but I don't see prints. Looks like 17.11 is your halt price there.
Yeah, I don't have it halted. It looked like it was trading very thinly, so that could be what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, remember, this got bought up in the pre-market on basically nothing, on basically being a new issue with Don Jr. attached to the board. That's that's not fundamental. That's not anything serious.
Yeah, look at all the candles that led up to 24.99. You're looking at 7,000 shares, 8,000 shares, 10,000 shares. Not very much volume. And then look at this night that we just had out of the gate here, 107,000 shares. Pretty much everybody that was buying sold right there.
Yeah, those are flippers in a brand new name with no information. Yep,
it's
sounds
not
about right.
I don't think this is halted. It's just asleep. It's just nobody trading it. That's. I mean, I don't see it halted. I have NUWE halted, QLGN halted, not PEW.
I mean, I see it as halted. I don't have a report in pro, but I see it as halted. So looks like here, Rakesh is saying, yes, it is halted. Okay.
And that's interesting because different brokers are telling us different things.
It's also the first day this thing is trading. So let's give it a little grace and give the other brokers a little grace.
APM with a big reversal coming back up through VWAP.
Okay. I did want to go over a new swing trade I took. I briefly mentioned it. Is now a good time?
Game is going too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, not if we have movers. I'll do it another time.
Looks like BMNR is trying to turn around off the 200 EMA. Not sure about that one. The game is starting to go here. 250 was the high in the pre-market. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. And 240 might be the top end of that pre-market range for this to break here. VSIG, this was also on the movers list. You can see we had a pop and a drop here. I opted not to cover this because we've covered VSIG a lot, and it is roughly the same thing every time we cover it. So more of that here today.
Yeah, this time they're just acquiring a licensed fund manager called V Capital Fund to launch their regulated Bitcoin fund. So VSIG trying to become another one of these Bitcoin treasury players. Company actually has a pretty good looking balance sheet, does make money. 2.84 million shares in the float.
SBET here, the good mention here on SBET. This actually might try 35 here. Maybe this is another one. We drew a number of price levels on this, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go to my, yeah, we sure did. So we're approaching another one here. The next one is at 39.5. Past this.
Looks like 34 even, big resistance area. Been suppressing the upside price actions since pre-market, and did it for about half an hour going into the open here. I think that if we're going to see a move over 34, it might be a big one.
Open traded up to 129, pulled back a little bit, but still so far holding its VWAP. That might be interesting if it continued to do that. Tesla here, by the way, this ripped right out of the gate.
Here we are.
Yep, go ahead.
Here we are with SBET hitting 34 even. It just went up there and got rejected again. 34. That's a level. It's a level in SBET. I think if we get enough volume, it's going to push through. ITMSF, that was the OTC that was getting mentioned. That's grinding higher.
Okay, good mention there from our group. Boy, you guys even went diving into the dumpster of the OTC land and pulled out gems. Only our group is capable of doing that, I feel like. TDTH, Trident Digital. This was a penny stock this morning, now graduating to dollar territory. This ripping on volume up 60%, 55% here. Maverick is mentioning Circle here. We actually haven't even taken a look at Circle yet today. That's ripping. Pew is open and lower.
NUWE is open and higher.
Okay, so those halts coming out here. Pew 15s now.
Oh, man.
14s now. Going to halt at 1441 if this holds.
D-SPACing.
D-SPACing is right. You know, the other thing here is that this is not really trading on a ton of volume. This halt here, the market traded 25,599 shares down here at 1441, and that was enough to halt it. So, Lion mentioning Ethereum 3,200. Lion, your call was 4K. You're only 800 points away. God, I am so glad that I kept 100% of my Ethereum holding.
Nice.
That was the smart move because I knew I wanted to use some of that. I was making a rather big purchase, my first purchase of this size in some time. So I was like, I'll use some of the Bitcoin for that. But I'm going to hang on to my Ethereum, especially since I'm staking it now. Man, that worked. I did hold on to a little bit of Bitcoin, but okay. All right, 13. I'm gonna take a break here real quick and talk about a new swing trade that I put on yesterday based off of seasonality. I told you guys that I would mention this here today. I just really quickly want to cover it because I took this while we were not on the show. Otherwise, I would have broke it down in real time. Ticker here is ABT. This is Abbott Labs. And what I'm looking at here is first of all, we've had pretty good performance on this curl back. We did run into a little resistance when we tried to take out 140. This is where we're currently sitting. And to my eye here, it sure looks like it's testing the 100-day. So I did kind of front run this because we didn't get a close over the 100-day yesterday. But it sure looks like it doesn't want to break down from here. A capture of that 100-day and perhaps a move up to the 50-day might draw in some more buyers here. We're not oversold at all. And then finally, what really did it here for me on ABT was going to be the seasonality. So here you go. Let me bring this chart here. Here is your seasonality chart. And if we adjust this here, we are basically an extremely positive seasonality for this stock between 715, which was when I originated this trade, and 723, 724.5. So for the next couple of weeks here, this should be a pretty good performer. If we look at some of the stats, 100% probability of it to the upside. So we took this here. We'll see ABT. I took this via the August 135 call. So I wanted to give myself some time and some movement. I'll keep you updated on this swing. Again, that's ticker ABT. Really positive seasonality right now.
Looks like SBET is losing VWAP and is testing the 65 EMA. Rigetti lost VWAP and then recaptured it. Has a big seller at 1465. So if we get a sudden expansion in volume to take that out, we might see the other side of 15 again.
How does seasonality mesh with biotech? I don't have any data on that. I would imagine, seasonality is seasonality. I don't think there's any mechanism within the seasonality breakdown that can predict some of the things that move biotechs, like drug data, trial results, things of that nature. So I think one of the things is, Abbott Labs is a little bit different. It's not like we're talking about them, having some huge drug. And they also have a pretty robust pipeline. I'll tell you this, I would really only use seasonality on some of those bigger stocks. I wouldn't necessarily use it on one of those smaller biotech stocks. I think you're probably betting on the story there. I don't have any specific data for you, though, on how it applies to just biotech in general, though. That actually might be something. Take a look at a sector-based seasonality. Now you're giving me some ideas, Game Boy.
I think with pharma, you're at least going to see some big or better moves toward the end of the year when it's colder and more, illnesses take hold. The cold, flu, things like that. So I think you see some positive seasonality out of the pharma companies at the very least. Okay,
there you go. That actually is something to monitor. 13. That's a really good heads up mention there. Okay, what do we got moving around here?
Rigetti is still trying to grind towards that $15, making its way up there.
And Open gave you a pullback to the VWAP, held it, and is trying to move higher now. Izzy, good morning. It's great to see you again. How did your son's triple header go? Izzy? How did that go? Was that yesterday? I can't remember if it was yesterday or if it's coming here. Anyway, let me know how it went. Joby is what he's mentioning. Joby lifting here in the pre-market and then ripping out of the gate. Did we have news on any of these eVTOLs?
I thought Joby had news yesterday.
It did. And it did, yes. And this is what it was. It was yesterday after hours here. So it looks like we have a number of Form 4s here. The director sold 6.19 million shares of stock. Stock's up 10% on the back of that. Yeah, these are sales.
Got Blue Sky has ahead for that one investor is saying. We have the insider selling. You said Joby Aviation is at the double production at California facility. We talked about this yesterday, and we kind of looked at that like that doesn't seem like a lot. But hey, twice as much production's going to improve their revenue.
Izzy, he won all 3 games and hit 3 doubles. Was that it? 6
nice.
Total bases in 2 games is pretty good. Perhaps more importantly, the fact that they're 3-0, racked those dubs up. Really good stuff. It sounds like you got a baseball star coming here. And APM, yes, this is what I pulled up here. We're right at the top end of that pre-market range.
Yeah, looks like SBET shook out some weak hands. That's trying to turn around. We'll see if we end up getting a recapture.
Pew is trying to turn around. In fact, we might halt here. 15.55 on Pew and a halt to the upside after flushing folks.
So with this one, when it comes to Pew, I think I'd be careful about what happens around 17. If you look at the pre-market and the after hours and basically just all the price action prior to this move for the past couple of days, we're coming up to the sideways consolidation. I anticipate that's going to be a bit of a supply zone coming back up here. So from about 1575 to 1725, might have a hard time recapturing some of these levels, but we'll see. Maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't have a hard time.
Pew is halted here, by the way. That much I can confirm. And actually, it's starting to get reported correctly in the signals algorithm as well. APM, meanwhile, while we took a look at that, did bust the pre-market high.
Wow.
This is going here on volume. Smoke Tuna, are you out there here today? Bonjour, if you are. Where do some of these fit? I could probably look it up myself. Hang on a second. Did I close it? Oh, damn, I did.
Let me see where this.
I have to disable a VPN to go back into it. I'll do it another time. I'll do it when we're off the show.
So maybe 230. APM is halted to the upside now. APM 230 might be the next area of resistance. I'm looking at this little candle here from August 7th last year that got some support. Well, when we did lose that level where it gave support, trying to recapture it after we lost in the following month, just saw nothing but rejection. Same thing when you move over to the moves from the end of the year to the beginning of this year. It blasted off on some piece of news and then just came right back in. So
yeah,
thinking we're going to be seeing 230 as a potential site of initial rejection here with APM.
Okay, that's really a good measurement there. I want to take a look at Goldman Sachs here. I think they reported this morning, right? Yes, earnings reported before market here. Goldman Sachs rolling over -1% here to the downside. Says that the conference call is still ongoing, so it looks like, I'll tell you what, they actually traded higher on the actual print itself. Something in that conference call, no bueno, as the stock reverses here and is now lower. Anyone following the Goldman Sachs conference call? Here we go. Thank you, Pro. Thank you, Benzinga Pro. During the conference call, Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon says deal-making environment has been remarkably resilient, optimistic on the investment banking outlook. Narrow range of outcomes on trade has increased CEO confidence on mergers and acquisitions. Interesting. Of course, we do also have the letter to the shareholders here for Goldman Sachs. I guess you need to complete this form to enter the webcast. Okay, so that's the link to the actual conference call itself. Okay.
So it looks like we're getting some selling happening here in the broader market.
We're getting a repeat of yesterday where we had a trade up after the print and then a red move. So far, yes, we are.
Yeah, this move today much better than the move we got after CPI, though.
No question.
A little bit higher. What was nice to see, though, is in the after hours. I don't know if you want to look at a 5-minute chart, but with the SPY, we ended up going down to in the after hours to that previous all-time high of 620 and 49 cents. Found support there, double bottomed, and we came back up. So if we continue to go lower here, I'm thinking that 620 49 cent level is going to come into play as support again. So I'd be keeping an eye on that.
Okay, good stuff there.
So NUWE, we got some sideways consolidation happening now around VWAP. This looks like it's just setting up to try and push higher. We'll see if we end up getting that.
Open is trying to go higher here. Sorry, did I stop you from saying something? It was not my intention.
Nope, just making noises.
BMNR, this is coming back in after the Peter Thiel stake. Joby continuing to push higher here on the new aircraft piece of news.
Circle is going, says Ara Alpha.
Wells Fargo bouncing back a little bit after the poor earnings print yesterday. I just had Circle up here. Let me pull it up again. My God, man.
Looks like BMNR.
Oh, man, Circle is ripping indeed.
Looks like BMNR is trying to find a bottom here and turn around. We'll see if we end up getting that. Got another minute and 50 seconds left in this candle. Rigetti knifed through the VWAP, not halted. Any thoughts on levels of UMAC? Let me take a look at UMAC.
That's Unusual Machines. That's the one that traded up with the drone headline and then did an offering into it.
Oh,
here's your chart for UMAC. I will say that this did kind of trade off the lows. After that, we're basically back to where we were at the beginning of the day on Friday, right? We traded up out of the open. We were a little bit higher in the pre-market, then up out of the open. That's basically where we're back to right now on UMAC.
Yeah, 1080 looks like a particularly interesting level.
Q is open.
If you draw a line there at 1080 on UMAC, you can see how that has been a really important support area. Every time that we lose that or move through it, that particular level, it's usually on a pretty big candle. So there's something interesting there.
Yeah, I like that. I like your 1080 level. I think there's something to that. Pew, by the way, higher out of this second halt.
If you like that, look at a daily chart for UMAC.
Of UMAC? Okay,
yeah, with that level.
Oh, yeah. And the offering is at 1050. Thank you, Izzy. I forgot what price that was. Pew, by the way, continuing to trade higher here, might retake 17 on Pew. That's a 4-point move off that bottom print. Yep, there goes 17. Oh, they refilled it and flushed it a little bit.
Brand new hip hop's thinking Pew might soar.
I mean, these IPOs can do whatever they want. I wouldn't be shocked if it did. Yeah.
Well, this is the SPAC too, so it's a little bit different. I think when it comes to this one, we're at that level I gave earlier. About what was it, like 17 something. Just watch that. Let's see if we can recapture that, because that is a concerning area where we could see some rejection. It's a lot of supply. Looks like SBET's trying to turn around here.
Real quickly, Joe is asking, why is Micron getting punished? I see no news, and it was beaten down when others in the sector were soaring. Might this be related to ASML? That move is still happening, right? Let's take a look here and see on Micron. Micron down 3% here today.
Yeah, I mean, it did run 110% off the April 7th low, so maybe it's just some profit taking. We did lose the 20-day SMA after writing it, support for about a week or so. Looks to me like this is just coming down to some previous support area. I'd say 110 might be a good area where it could find some support. It's golden crossed last month, so I would just say that this is cooling off. I don't think this is a bad company whatsoever. As a matter of fact, this could end up being an opportunity to get some shares at a lower price. I'd be keeping an eye on that 50-day SMA in addition to the 110 price level as support.
Okay, and now ASML, one of the things I said earlier here is that this actually might provide a day trade. So far, it really hasn't. Looks like we're still kind of going through the bottoming process here, although the selling has really slowed down here around 638, 640. The thought here was they said that they could not confirm their growth, but that they would still prepare and operate as if they were going to grow in 2026. To me, that says that they're kind of leaving the door open for maybe a positive surprise to the upside. We'll see what the market does with this. So far, no bueno on this one.
Yeah, Lion, I think the same thing. It ran up a lot in a very short period of time, profit taking. Let it come back in. We'll have another opportunity to load up. And I don't know if there's another U.S.-based company that has a production capacity to make as much flash and NAND memory and DRAM as Micron does. Every other
they're the memory kings, 13.
Yeah, they're one of three, and the other two are both in South Korea. So tariffs. This is going to be a company that U.S.-based companies that are building out these data centers and infrastructure. They're going to tap Micron for the non-tariff affected memory chips.
Pew here on this bounce back is actually testing VWAP. I've got that value for VWAP here, 1848 in my broker. Looks like 1863 here in Pro. So this seems to be a move back towards the VWAP. Has not been able to take it out yet.
Being asked to look at Game. Game had a pop up to that pre-market, almost to that pre-market high. came right back in underneath VWAP. So looks like it's just trying to hold above the 65 EMA. You could draw an undersided trend line starting from 550 yesterday, 450 yesterday, something like that. Anyway, just draw an underside trend line if it using the lows. If it drops beneath that, I think we might want to look somewhere else.
Okay.
But for now, we just want to see if the 65 EMA is going to provide support.
Pew still kind of trading right around this VWAP. We'll see if it can move through that. That actually might change things. I'm with Crocodile, though. I think I'm going to pass on all the Pew excitement. Good luck if you trade that. Here's DPro, which we talked about earlier. This making some wicks to the upside after those initial pops.
APM is halted. Wow, look at this thing go. All right, so let's see what other levels we can draw on here.
Pretty big Sezzle put buy, it looks like, for next month. So this expires in a month. They spent just under $500,000 on that Sezzle put buy, 100 puts.
Maybe you see some resistance at 280 in APM, but I think it's going to be stronger at $3 even. That's what I'd be looking at. All right. All right, SBET, what are you doing? Looks like it dropped beneath VWAP, recaptured it. Now it's trying to push higher. 34.44 is the session high. Looks like it's having an issue trying to get back up to 34. NUWE is halted to the downside now after not being able to hold above VWAP. Maybe there's some support around 19. We'll see. All right, SBET through 34 again. Looking for the highs of the session. I know some of you folks are looking for, what is it, 35 or 37 you were looking for on SBET. Let me know, but you might end up getting it here. It's the price action that we're seeing here this morning is what I would kind of describe as broadening.
SBET coming up to that 35.28 level that we had marked
high,
there.
New high, 34.49, new high in SBET, and it's still going. Congratulations, everybody. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. Pew is coming in from that VWAP there.
NUWE is open again. Got some support around $20, trying to turn around. VWAP is at 23.34. We'll have to see if it can recapture it. It's going to need some better volume than this, though. A little concerned about that area up at VWAP and 24.50.
APM resumed and is moving lower here. 220s now on APM.
Yeah, oh, after hitting a high of 270. Nice.
Yep.
Nice. This has been a pretty good morning.
It has, actually. And you're right. The trading action in the broader market, at least so far, things could obviously change, but at least so far, this is much better than what we got after the CPI. I understand that we moved lower here, but we're holding in so far.
Do I think the bottom is in for Regeneron Pharmaceuticals? It might be. So here's what I'd be looking at here, because I can see what you're asking about with this price action since we hit this low in June. We've since recaptured the 20 and 50-day SMAs. We're coming down to test the 50-day SMA right now. We're testing it as of yesterday. What needs to happen next, in my opinion, is we need to see this move off the 50-day SMA start to happen now. What you don't want to see is it failed to recapture 555. If we trade back up and it just can't seem to recapture 555, I think it may end up losing that 50-day SMA. It's encouraging that we've got this many closes above the 50-day SMA, but I need to see this come back up off the 50-day SMA. And if we do get that, you'll have a silver cross coming up shortly afterwards. So sorry if I can't definitively say if the bottom is in. It appears like it is, but I need to see some other boxes checked first, if that makes any sense.
Fahad saying, are you guys looking at yield max ETFs like UTLY? I'm not personally, but I believe Amanda from our group here is actually looking at some of these and has a strategy for trading them. I also think Richard looked into these too. Fahad, I'm sorry, these are not part of my trading or my investment strategy at the moment.
So CYCC getting a mention here by Crocodile Dumb Me. Great movement yesterday with this one. Took it. it was pretty wild out of the gate here. Took it all the way up. Excuse me, as high as 1925 before we started turning bearish and going back down. This is trying to get back into double digits right now. Seems like $10 is a bit of a resistance area. So if it gets over that, maybe it does end up trading better. But CYCC, big mover yesterday, not so much today. Let's take a look at some of these. So DPRO, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute because of my stupid nose. Unity, this got mentioned earlier by EKS. This had a really strong pre-market here. It actually looks like it's taking the next leg higher. This was plus 7% when we first looked at it, plus 12% now. Looks like this is trading on the back of the upgrade here, price target upgrade from Jeffries from 29 to 35. That's ticker U, Unity. Sorry, 13, which one were you looking at?
DPRO, that's pushing up, trying to make some new session highs. In the pre-market, we got as high as 488. It ran into some trouble around 480. I believe that was the level I pointed out earlier with this. So if we get back up to 480, watch for some volume to kick in to help move it up higher. That's going to be the next resistance area for me, is 480 on that one.
Okay. Fahad here saying, open, baby. I'm happy. Jay Rice, sounds like you're making some folks some money. That was a good call yesterday. Good stuff on that.
Day trader is saying, Buddy's father is in UTLY and sold puts on them. So he doesn't believe in UTLY. I'm sorry, I missed the whole thing about UTLY. I was looking at other stuff.
It's UTLY. This is one of those yield max ETFs where it pays out dividends. Oh man, I got to get this right. ULTY. What were you saying? This pays out dividends weekly on this one. Amanda broke this trade down, but she does these multi-leg options that I just can't follow. Anyway, trading some of these. This one pays out a dividend here. He wants entry, but he wanted to write it down. So he got put the stock to him. Day trader. RSA talking about Costco. We have our plan lined up here for Costco already. Really want Costco to officially test or perhaps even break and then recapture the 200-day. See where we're at here. Here we go. So we are now breaking beneath the 200-day. This now on watch here. If this recaptures this 200-day within the next 3 or 4 days, this is probably a long side trigger here. Ticker COST, Costco. That 200 days at 964, current price 955.
Empyrean is saying that he saw a Benzinga article about Nokia getting ready to pump in July.
I don't know what he's referring to because we don't use the pump nomenclature in our articles, so I'm not really sure what he means. Producer, maybe you can help find that story. What ticker was that on again?
NOK.
NOK. Let me see if I can search that here and find it.
This actually has had a pretty awful, couple of weeks. This thing just has been headed straight down, and it might even be pretty sold here. So bit of an interesting spot, Nokia, getting some support down where a lot of these drops previously had. The one from February got support in the same area. One in April got the same support in the same area. The only one that didn't was the Liberation Day unwind, which was a whole animal all on its own. Interesting spot that we're at here with Nokia, but I think I'd need some more. The chart does look interesting. RSI definitely oversold territory. At the very least, it looks like we could come back up to the 200-day SMA and try to recapture it. All right. Meanwhile, top 3 tech stocks that are preparing the pump in July. Okay, so I guess we're just needing to not use the word pump because we don't That's not necessarily a word we use here. But you can go ahead and say it if you want.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't know what I mean, like that's traditionally associated with nefarious actions. So we're not gonna be writing stories like that. I don't really know what you mean. But I'll see if producer can grab that for us.
Rally, I think, is what he is referring to.
Which story was it for Nokia?
Yeah. So let's see if there were any headlines here. Yeah, it's from this morning. Top 3 tech stocks that are preparing to pump in July.
So they do actually use that?
Uh-huh.
Sorry, man.
Preparing to pump in July. So they say Grid Dynamics, GDYN, Nokia, NOK, and Methode Electronics, MEI.
Okay. My apologies.
Looks like BM&R is recapturing the 65 VMA and VWAP. It is moving right now, BM&R. What else here? Hood could be an all-time closing high if it holds. SRM making a big move. Will be changing ticker to Tron. And why Tron? I guess I would be wondering. It's not important though. Oh, I get okay, because one of their customers is Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. Okay. Maybe that's one of the reasons.
Okay.
APM still halted. SBET looks like this is trying to recapture 34 again here. And if it does, might make some new session highs. Volume's not that great. Yeah, volume's not that great right now, but if it expands here and takes out that 34.69, let's see where this goes. We've already filled the gap. So we're just making our way through this consolidation from June 9th to 12th.
A huge buying activity in Ondas right now. I'm not sure what's going on. Just a huge volume candle that sent this thing back to the highs. ONDS.
Is it perhaps that that DPro news that it's kind of trading in sympathy with?
Maybe, but this just, I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of volume out of nowhere.
Okay.
Ryan, that 5X last night was on a meme coin named Rudy. That's one of 4 new coins named after the new Grok 4 video companions that rolled out. Okay. I don't even know what that means, honestly.
Tron, because the dude far out, man.
That's just like your opinion, man.
Mm-hmm. Peed on my freaking rug.
He peed on your freaking rug.
It really did tie the room together.
I could go all day with the Big Lebowski. I'm not gonna do that though. I'm not gonna do that. It's such a great movie.
Hey, Robert. Good morning. You're hitting a lot of these, these nice ones that we're looking at and trading here. Haven't looked at Johnson & Johnson yet. CoreWeave, that's another one we haven't looked at yet today. But man, we're having a good time with SBET, and I think we also looked at Circle. Pew is an interesting stock. I think there was some issues it was having with the whole merger, because we were getting some weird things from all of our brokers with halts, not halts. Is it trading? Is it not trading?
It is absolutely trading. It's open right now. It's below VWAP. It looks like it's liable for a pull here. Joby, by the way, this pounding highs right now. This is continuing to move higher here. Good stuff, Izzy. I know you've been on some of these EV tolls, Joby included. Tesla has pulled back. Let's see what else we got here. Costco just getting absolutely shellacked today, taken out to the woodshed and stuffed in the wood chipper.
Rigetti is trying to get a lift here, maybe even take it up to over 15 again. Need to see better volume than this. It's running into some resistance right now, but the high of the session is 1503. Aspect, here we go. This is starting to move again.
This Rigetti chart sure looks like this is going to have another test of 15 coming.
Yeah.
Just from my eye here. You saying SBET was the other one, 13?
Yeah, SBET's
this too on the 35. Robert, I had a huge circle position. I'm not surprised to hear that. Glad to sell some today. Yeah, I bet good stuff there on that trade. Jay mentioning that Tempest here has news, positive FDA news. FDA 510 clearance for its Tempest ECG low EF software. Here's what your daily chart looks like on Tempest. We're kind of in the midpoint of the range that we've really been successful trading on Tempest.
What's ripping above? Oh, SYM. This is Arista Stocks Market. SYM. Let's take a look at that. Oops. Symbiotic. That's probably a short squeeze is what we're seeing here. 40% of the float shorted. 5 days to cover. Could very well be what we're seeing here. They also got a price target raised by Oppenheimer to 54. So maybe that's where it ends up going. It's almost there. We're approaching all-time highs, it looks like. All-time highs was a 64. Hold on a second. 64.14.
SYM getting a bunch of Twitter mentions, by the way. That actually happened just as you guys were talking about it. I looked over there and saw that there are a number of those FinTwit option traders that are on SYM.
NUWE, this one of the movers from this morning. It halted, I think, a couple of times, giving it all back now.
NUWE, huh?
Mm-hmm. BM&R with a pull as well. Looks like they're all kind of pulling at the moment. All the ones we've been on this morning. What's going on with SPY? Is that getting a pull as well? No, just kind of sideways at the moment. Pew, there's what I was worried about. Got up to the 17 area, that 17 and change area. Printed above it, but was rejected. Came back down. Now it's heading lower. So this site we've had this sideways consolidation. This was the concern I was having about it not being able to go much higher than this area. And sure enough, that's what we're getting here. This looks like it's going to head down to 13 again.
That's NUW, or is that Pew? Sorry.
That was Pew. Yeah.
Yep. RCAT calls. So some of the drone names, it's not just Ondas that's doing well today. Actually, RCAT, very similar price action here. And calls getting bought now here on RCAT. Also, Joby calls. These are the 28 calls. Good Lord, 28. Those are leaps. So that's for January of 2026. The 28 calls bought in size right there. Let me check out the option chain. Yeah, and that also does not look like it's part of a spread. Nope. Interesting. Some leap bets getting taken there on Joby.
Redwire having a big down day today. They got a buy by Canaccord and a price target raised to $21, but we are selling off right now.
METC, this was one that was mentioned with MP earlier. I think, was it J? Anyway, MP, METC, USAR, all of these related. But the Happy Hour group had a discussion yesterday. We kind of totaled up some investments. We did some napkin math to total up some of these investments in MP. We had $500 million from Apple. We had $400 million not long ago from
DoD.
DOD, and then we had, I think, 200 million from Chamath back in April. So napkin math gives me $1.1 billion of investment here in MP. We talked about, rare earths and all of that. I suspect that this stock is buyable on a pullback. I think there might be some more legs to it. I'm not chasing this move. We've had two moves here, but this most recent move off 30 that basically doubled the stock, I'm not going to chase this. But if MP comes back in and defines a support level, this one might be worth trading. Again, the other sympathy plays for that really seem to be USAR, which is probably the closest one, and then also METC, Ramco Resources. METC having a day today.
Will is saying Ionic IONQ is eventually a 50-plus banger. Well, these quantum names could very well be.
That's the quantum name that the analysts on CNBC actually like. Like Sylvia Jablonski made a case that this is one of the better quantum stocks and is actually holdable right now.
Yep. All right. Looking to see what's good, and it's kind of just it was a good morning, but things have really slowed down. What's moving for you folks? Looks like D Pro is trying to go higher. We could draw a bit of a trend line here, give us an idea of when this is going to break out. So maybe at this stage, when we get back up into the 470s, we see a breakout here. SBET losing VWAP. Game is back to its sideways price action again. Just waiting for that conference to start. Looks like resistance is becoming support for NUWE. The highs from the pre-market are providing some support for NWE. So let's see if it can recapture some of these EMAs and return to VWAP. $18. Yep.
I was just going to say NUWE at the VWAP here. Looks like it's tried to bounce off that.
That's at your VWAP? Oh,
yeah.
My VWAP's at 2242.
1794 is the VWAP value that I have. It looks like we kissed it literally right on the nose.
13 scalped Amazon from the bottom today because Izzy, that's what you do.
Yeah, and then how's Uber today? So Amazon's the one stock that your O was on top of. How about Uber? This did keep moving down. Looks like we're testing 90 here on Uber. What's the buy spot here on Uber? This actually, the more this comes in, the more I'm interested in maybe swinging this long. What's the buy spot here? 87 and a half?
We'll look at Uber in just a second. APM trying again one more time to take out 350. We get another rejection there. I'd be very careful with APM because we'll have a series of upper shadows that typically will foretell a reversal. So let's hope that this takes out 350. If it doesn't, let's exercise caution.
Yeah, Tess here saying Uber down to support. Izzy saying Uber stay away under 90. Well, that's what we're looking for. Where's the buy spot here on Uber? Joe says I won't buy it till 83. Tess says down to support. Tess, where do you have support? First of all, looking at this 87 and a half, this actually might be a support level. This 83 level that Joe's talking about looks pretty good. The recent double bottom here from June.
I kind of like 88.
Okay.
88's one spot, and then I guess 82. 88 and 82 would be my next spots to the downside for support. 80 does look like a particular cycle level as well, but I'd say 88 and 82 look like the next spots to for support.
Yeah, this 88 level looks good. 13. That's definitely a good one. You guys are shouting and hollering about APM. APM looks like we got more new highs right here. Indeed.
All right, we took that out. 385. Looks like
PEW is trying to go back to the VWAP. Not sure about it though.
just waiting to see if D Pro is going to break this trend line or not. This needs volume expansion. BM&R with a nasty pull there, coming down to some of the highs we were making just before pre-market. I'm sorry, just before the regular session open. Now it's through them. BM&R, big selling there. Same with SPEC. Is he pointing out Lithium Americas, LLAC? This is up 10%.
Okay.
This is recapturing the 200-day SMA. What's going on here with this one? The only thing I see is that somebody paid for taxes or shares with by selling some. That's one of the VP of Resource Development. That's from Monday. I don't see any other news. Tell me what's going on with that one. APM also hit $4, by the way. CCCC looks like it's cooking for something for tomorrow. So C4 has been one we've traded before.
Oh, that's C4. That's right.
And we've, this has been a good winner, and then it goes off into oblivion somewhere. Yeah. So here's what we're talking about. The last time I think we traded this, it was the end of 2023 going into March of 2024. That was the last time I had a really nice rally, but nothing in particular since then. Maybe July last year, but this thing has gone down to the all-time lows again. Maybe we're seeing a double bottom.
Yeah, it just round tripped all the way back down here.
But it's good pointing this out, because I think you're right. It is looking like it's trying to turn around here. That 200-day SMA is going to be the next area of resistance that I see. So that's going to be about 313. Coin just passed its all-time high. It says brand new hip hop. Is Rocket continuing to get hammered today?
Is it?
Not really. It is getting support from the 50, but had a big pull yesterday. It's beneath the 200-day SMA. Hasn't recaptured it yet.
Rocket up by 1% today. That's good to see after yesterday's terrible performance.
Yeah. All right. What else we got going on here? Joby high a day. All righty. And you moving on volume. It's Unity software.
Yeah. I'll be honest, the some of these bigger names are just kind of not great here today. It seems to be the smaller movers that are still moving. Maybe, small caps like Unity here. This was a good mention. But it seems just kind of again.
Unity got a price target raise, and it gapped up this morning. Looks like, and it's interesting too, because that price target is for 35. And when you look at $35 and check out what's happened to the left, you're like, oh yeah, 35 is about where this is probably going to go and find resistance anyway. So 35, maybe 35.50, but it's, you can clearly see that that's an area where there's been support and resistance in the past, back in 22 and 23.
OKLO getting a mention here.
And Kathy Allison is also mentioning Galaxy GLXY. Its recent IPO is up 8% today.
OKLO actually teasing a break higher here. This was weaker earlier today in the pre-market. Man, oh man, that trend line, that upside trend line that we were amazed that it broke, that seems like a long time ago.
And it is support.
Yeah, indeed it is, especially now.
Rigetti breaking out, looking for 15. BMNR testing its VWAP and 65 EMA at the same time, trying to reverse off of that. So interesting thing about Redwire, this had a pop up to 1774 this morning, and it just sold off all the way down to 1669. Now it seems to be reversing. There was a rejection earlier of the VWAP when it tried to turn around and come back up. So I'd be keeping an eye on that potentially happening again. I have VWAP at 1715. You might have it differently on yours, but that's what I'd be keeping an eye on, is if we're going to get another rejection at VWAP.
1720 is what I've got. That's about the same thing.
Yeah. Also keep an eye on DPro. This has been looking like it's been trying to make new session highs, maybe even get up to the pre-market highs around 488. But it's been having a hard time over the past 20 minutes trying to break out of this range. So just wanted to point that out there. It looks like it's trying to move over this downtrend. But you can even draw a trend line here from the highs going into the regular session.
Yeah,
I'm kind of watching.
Let me do that.
I'm just watching to see if we're going to get that break, and it's going to be at about at this stage about 470 where that breakout may occur. So just need to see some expansion of volume in order to take it over this trend line here.
SBET still holding sideways here, has not been able to move towards that 35.28 level. No, I don't want to write it off yet, but hasn't been able to do that. Open more new highs. Jay, I tell you what, you really hook them. You really hook them. And I appreciate this because in addition to just mentioning the ticker, you actually gave the thesis out here as well. Or a link to it.
Open is getting some resistance at the, the 200-day SMA. And this could be the site where we see some pullback. I don't want to say it's going to reverse and just absolutely crater. I don't think that's what's happening with Open Door at all. But this has been a pretty big move. Let me see exactly how much of a move off the bottom. Looking at 158% move off the bottom. And we just hit the 200-day SMA. I think this is probably going to cool off and come back in, but I don't think we're going to lose $1, at least not right now. I think you're going to still be able to hold above $1 with Open right now.
QS QuantumScape, this also moving. Kathy, what's going on with this sector? See, I feel like we're seeing a number of these move here today.
The battery sector?
Yeah, I guess this is battery. This isn't necessarily quantum, even though it's got quantum in the name.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good, probably one of the more confusing aspects of the name here.
Yeah, it's just because we were also talking about Rigetti and IONQ and
this is not a quantum name. This is
it's just a battery. Yeah,
it's a solid state battery name, but it's supposed to be one of the more sought after types of batteries, because I think this is where batteries are supposed to be moving towards with EVs, is into more of the solid state. So you have longer, not charge times, but the battery lasts longer. The charge in the battery lasts longer. Recharges more quickly. I think Volkswagen is vested in this somehow. I also think that there's a Toyota angle to this company as well. And I believe Bill Gates is also attached to this. So several different things going for QuantumScape there. It's supposed to be one of the better solid state battery manufacturers coming up. The sector is beaten so badly it's undervalued. And you're referring to, Ryan, you're referring to batteries in general? Master is asking me about the situation of sellers I see around 370 at my level 2 for BTBT. Let me take a look at BTBT. I haven't looked at that this morning. Let's see here. So I don't see much of a difference from 370 in terms of how many sellers there are than I do from like 365 to up to 375. There's large amounts of large clusters of orders just sitting out there, preventing this from going a whole lot higher. It seems 65 to 75. I'm looking at hundreds of thousands of shares just sitting out there right now, waiting to be picked up. But
and I'm sorry, which stock are you looking at?
BT.
And by the way, again, more call sweeps on multiple quantum names, including a huge one, another 500,000 bet here, IONQ.
But as far as BT goes, it's trying to hold above its VWAP. How this particular 5-minute candle goes may indicate where it's going to go next. If it holds VWAP, we might see 370 again. If not, I think we're going to come down and test the 65 EMA down around 350. But 370, yeah, I can see what you're saying about that being a site of rejection. Impulse move up this morning, got to 376, came right back in, sold off all the way down to the 65 EMA. We already had the second attempt up to 370. That got rejected as well. But I'll say this, if we do hold VWAP and we do make another attempt at 370, I think there's an even greater chance you might see those sellers get taken out. But it's going to require a good amount of volume. So if you do get that move back up, but you don't have the volume, probably going to get rejected again.
Okay, good breakdown, 13.
Joseph Schmo bought August 8th Ionic calls at 42, running up into earnings.
Pew has calls. It already has an option chain already.
Okay, so Jay, you're looking for a 10 bagger in open.
No, so it's actually more than that. Jay, I don't know if this is a mistype. Maybe Jay has a little bit more of a conservative target. The target outlined in that, I believe, was a 10,000 bagger. I'm not even kidding. Hang on a sec. I'll get it again. For those that missed this yesterday, for what we're talking about here, let me get it again.
Kathy also mentioning OP short squeeze is up 42%. Lion, have a great rest of the day.
Take care of yourself, Lion. It is going to be a good rest of the day. I'll tell you that much right now.
I mean, I could see 10.
Sorry. 100 bagger.
Oh,
here's the thread. Here's the thread on open, by the way. I'll go ahead and Jay gave this to me. This was he mentioned this yesterday. He literally told us about it. There it is. Threw it in the chat for anyone that's interested. Pretty in-depth thread here that goes through the entire thing on where they see this the stock going
over the next few years. Oh, okay. So they're taking the return of real estate angle, because look, real estate's been underperforming the S&P 500 for the past, I think we're on our 4th year now. That doesn't happen too often. As a matter of fact, you look back at, I think, the past 15 years, usually it's no more than 2 years that real estate underperforms S&P 500 in a row. And we've had 3 years under our belt now. We're looking at a 4th. I think that we are going to see real estate take off probably in 26 and 27 at this rate.
Okay.
Hey, no problem, Master.
Good stuff, though, and I like stuff like that. I like thought out theses like that. Is it theses or thesi? What's the plural of that?
I don't know. Thessi.
I don't think that's it, but
no, I don't know. Izzy also gave open last week. I do remember that.
Yeah, but again, the thread that was shared, way more of a complete thesis there.
Give me give us some more info when you have calls like that, because we're not saying you're wrong at all, but we were kind of looking at a penny stock and being like, well, how good could this really be?
And also think about it from our perspective. 13 and I are looking at hundreds of suggestions a day. A lot of the times we get just a ticker and we're supposed to come up with something from that. How on earth are we supposed to do that? Or a ticker and AI, or a ticker and EV, or a ticker and Bitcoin. It's like, help us out a little bit.
Imperium, that's a great point. Political winds are causing a lot of people to relocate. Same thing with insurance coverage. You're seeing all those folks that made their move out to like Florida and some of those coastal cities. They are rethinking that because of the hurricanes they've had to experience. So you are getting some more movement around. I guess I have to find out where all of those all that movement's heading towards. I know some of it's headed towards Tennessee. Open has real momentum going with few tailwinds like with rate cuts. It's going to rocket hopefully. Jonathan Cooper saying NUWE might be at the bottom. Let's take a look here. Maybe because it's hitting that area we were talking about where it was getting resistance in the pre-market, and now it's providing support. So you might be right. We might be at the end of the selling here. So let's see if it can start to recapture some of these EMAs. I also want to see some more, more price action that indicates it's turning around. Making a lower low in this current candle is not my idea of turning around quite yet. But I'm not disagreeing with you. I think this is trying to put in a bottom here. So we'll see if this particular candle here did put in the actual low for the moment. Oh yes, Joseph, we are. There is. I think since I came here 10 years ago, I must have been one of the earliest ones because since then I'm getting a lot of messages and I'm hearing from people that I haven't heard from in years saying, oh yeah, I'm out in Texas now. I think that's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I haven't seen anything else new appear on the scanner. We're basically just looking at the same things. And I haven't necessarily seen anything new great off of the options scanner either.
Gotta say, when you're talking, I think it was with Anne Marie you were talking with, and you guys, we were also talking here in the in this show yesterday too, but you brought it to TLT. That not having a bad day at all. As a matter of fact, we were bottoming in the after hours yesterday, and we're up almost a whole $1 off of that bottom now. Uh-oh.
Trade there was to buy stock and sell calls against it, by the way. Fahad says, I live in Florida. I cannot tell you how many people are on the fence ready to buy soon as that mortgage comes down. Prices will go up, but the idea is to lock in before the rate cuts happen. You're not the only one that says that. Our entire thesis on some of these housing or mortgage companies is that rate cuts are going to drive increased buying. The more you cut, the more buying there's likely to be. I think that's totally true. I mean, I myself, I would consider upgrading if the interest rates weren't where they're at.
Yeah, but I remember when we were talking with Markets and Mayhem, he was telling us, and he's right about how the mortgage rates are more closely tied to the 10-year than they are the shorter term treasuries. And when it comes to rate cuts, those affect the shorter term treasuries much more than they affect the longer term ones.
Yeah. Yep.
So
that's a good point. We're going to have him on again tomorrow, I think.
If we have a weakening economy, and we have basically if the economic conditions go south, that would set up longer term rates to go lower. It might take a while though. Game, this hitting 260 now, new session highs. Hey, Lion, I thought you were going to go trade some crypto. What are you doing back here? No, I'm just kidding. Welcome back.
Take that.
Couldn't get enough of us.
15 just giving it to him, giving him the business.
Jay Rice, I think it's more than just that. They voted for him because they thought he was going to save TikTok. I think that's another big reason for that. But yes, it's inflation, absolutely a huge part of it. Yeah. Take care, Judge. Good luck with Pew. Highest inflow of population first half of 2025, Florida, Texas, North Carolina, and Utah. Now, I'll say this. I think Utah is one of the only states that does not have is least affected by natural disasters. So fewer fires, fewer earthquakes, fewer floods, fewer hurricanes. No hurricanes, actually, being so inland.
Tornadoes.
I think, yeah, that as well. So I think the appeal there, as far as I'm concerned, is that Utah doesn't see very many natural disasters. If anything, they just have the issue with their with Salt Lake being highly acidic.
I will say Utah is spectacular beauty. And I believe it's got more state parks than any other state in the United States as well. It is a spectacularly beautiful state.
Jay Rice, which part you're not falling for? The TikTok part? Because, I mean, I think that's part of the reason why they voted for him. He had a presence on there and he was talking about saving it. I think that was an angle as to why he got so much of the Gen Z vote. My opinion. Insurance companies love this one trick in Utah. That's awesome. Game now grinding higher. 267 is the high.
Grand Rapids, fastest growing city in the nation for business. You know what? I'm actually not surprised. Grand Rapids, another beautiful city. A lot of fun stuff to do in Grand Rapids as well. Pretty cool museums if you're into automotive history. Was just in Park City for a wedding. Oh, I bet that was gorgeous.
I have a shirt from Park City. It's probably not appropriate, but it's funny. It's a camping shirt. I think you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
No, but I'm thinking about. We'll talk offline. Let's not go there. The beer scene is on point, yeah, for sure, and that's in Grand Rapids without a doubt. Whole lot of weed in Grand Rapids. Didn't know, but okay. Some of those drone stocks, by the way, folks, continuing to push to highs. Onda's still at the highs. We did have UMAC that looks like, I know that this pulled, but it really is not breaking down. We had RCAT making a pretty good push earlier. Looks like this pulled off the highs. Drone stock still strong here today.
Hey, Crint Biscuit, can you kind of tell us about why you think, or if you've heard about what's going on with Pittsburgh? Do you think it's about to boom? Let me know. Like the real estate sector is about to boom? Tell us more, if you could. Well, you might be right about NUWE. It still hasn't broken down beneath that 1750 level. So we'll see if it's turning around yet. I haven't seen the sign that it is turning around, but it's certainly going sideways, not wanting to go lower. APM hitting a high, or hit a high of 442 before backing off. Now it's getting a little bit of support from the 385 area, it looks like. TLT continues to grind higher. Pew might be turning around.
Pew looks like a kind of a steady, slow, just sideways trade here.
And we're still waiting for D-Pro has been going sideways for a while. This one also needs to make some kind of a move. Looking for a break of that trend line, but it is just doing a whole lot of nothing right now. QLGN, this been selling off for a good portion of the morning. Looks like we are finally getting a green candle. Don't want to say it's turning around quite yet, but this is the first green candle in, gosh, 40 minutes. So
QLGN, that was the one you just had?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ryan, if you're holding ETH, you may want to take profit. No, I'm a hodler. I don't trade crypto, as I've said a whole bunch of times. I'm also staking my crypto, so I'm earning yield just from holding it.
Now, what's
the deal?
I do
love seeing it trade up, though, quite a bit.
What's the deal with wanting to take profit on Ethereum? Are we also kind of expecting? Are we expecting that coin to come in?
I think what he's saying is because it's made a huge move. I think it's up like 7% here today. Let me see if I've got that.
So pretty much those names, those treasury names that have Ethereum are probably going to come in. Would SBET be one of the big ones affected by that then?
Here, let me actually get you that list here. We can take a look at all of them. Watch list. Doop. Some of these we're going to have to sift through because I have all the Ethereum ones added here on the altcoin. So BMNR, I think, is going to be the big one, 13. BMNR, BTBT, and I've got SOM here, and GAIN as well.
Yep. Because they just they're talking about 100 million Ethereum treasury, and that conference that they're supposed to be doing is coming up in about an hour, a little hour, like an hour and change. Bill going to Senate for altcoins approval. So I know that this week is crypto week. We've got a lot of several bills going through Congress right now for legislation, one of which is the Genius Act. But I thought there was something that we saw yesterday about how the motion to cast a floor vote, some kind of motion was delayed because they wanted more of these crypto bills to kind of be bundled together when they go for a vote. So I don't know if we're going to see these crypto and crypto related bills get passed this week. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But later this month, possibly. The bill got turned. Okay, so I guess I need to kind of go look at some more of that because I didn't think it was the bill. I thought it was just like a motion to review the series of crypto related bills. Anyway, we can talk more about that another time.
Okay, 13. We do have an all access coming up here. I'm going to throw this over to Kevin here in a sec. Any closing words for the group?
Hey, folks, fun day today. I had a good time. Hopefully you did. Let's make sure we come back here tomorrow with the same attitude and the same ideas, and we'll do this all over again. It's a great day. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Okay,
really good stuff, 13. As always, have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you tomorrow. 13's departure leaves room for Kevin. Kevin, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Ryan. How you doing? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday indeed. Always doing good when we're awake and breathing here. What do you got coming up for us on All Access?
It's a great day to have a great day. And we've got Dennis Calvert, the president and CEO of BioLargo, ticker BLGO. It's going to be a great interview. I'm super excited to see what he has in store for us.
Perfect. Kevin, I'm going to get out of your hair here, man. Take it away.
Absolutely. What's up, Zingers, and welcome back to All Access. I've got a great guest for you today, Dennis Calvert, the president and CEO of BioLargo, ticker BLGO. He's joining us for an exclusive talk. Hit that like button because All Access starts right now. Dennis, it's so great to have you on. How's it going?
Kevin the man. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Welcome. Wonderful to have you today. For anybody who hasn't seen you on our show, could you mind giving us a brief overview of BioLargo?
Sure. We've been innovating for almost 16 plus years. We have 4 technical platforms, deep science and engineering, focused on high impact things that can move the needle in the world for a greater good. I mean, it's just awesome. Do good, make money, nice combination. Deep bench in science and engineering, and we got a couple of nice commercial wins under our belt. We got some big ones coming. It's a very interesting portfolio focused on filling the gap in the marketplace where there's a great need, there's a problem that needs a fix. We invent the solution, we figure out how to get it to market, and then we scale with partners all over the world. It's a pretty cool business, and it's worth a deep dive.
Wow, that's awesome. So I guess BioLargo sort of describes itself as a company that invents, develops, and commercializes innovative platform technologies to solve these challenging environmental problems. Could you tell us what areas the company is currently focused on and what products are in the market?
Yeah, so there's currently 4 technical platforms that form the cornerstone of a business initiative. We set those up in subsidiaries, and in each of these situations, we bring a whole team together. And then the backstop supports science and engineering at the parent company level. And so it allows for entrepreneurs to get involved to sort of advance through regulatory, find the channel, make the deal, figure out how to get the stuff to market. Which is daunting, right? Sometimes this is a pretty ambitious company with big vision of high impact. Anyway, we've got odor and VOC. That's the most mature. We've got PFAS and water treatment, strategic for the world, for the United States of America. Battery technology, the salinity, that's probably the biggest, going to be the big crescendo for performance. And then we've got a medical device company that's preparing to launch with global partners. We've invested 13 years and $22 million getting ready for the market. Yeah, it's crazy. And that one's going to be a game changer for infection control and wound treatment, for helping heal wounds that won't heal. Anyway, that one's really locked and loaded too. It's pretty cool. So all of these have had long development cycles, lots of R&D, big vision, huge competition and barrier to entry. And now we're at that point where it's all starting to pay off, find the channel, make the deal, reap the harvest, if you will. We've been planting seeds for a long time.
Wow. So it sounds like you guys have really been busy, especially these past few months. So let's start with the alpha testing of the PFAS detecting portable water test kit developed by, I think it was a Verilize. What is this PFAS detecting kit, and why is it a big deal?
Yeah, well, so it's a piece of the puzzle, right? The big deal is the solution, of which test kits are a part of the solution. And so we're a solution company, right? So when we looked at the market, we've developed a selling and distribution channel. We've got a pipeline well over $100 million worth of business, bids, proposals, contracts. Our first commercial win is finally going in the field this August or September. We've been waiting for a general contractor. That's in Lake Stockholm, New Jersey. We've got the federal and the state EPA on side for validation work. Again, an emerging field. We believe we're sort of the cutting edge. So this test kit is a tool in the toolkit to work with our channel and our customers to really solve the PFAS issue. And in this case, we found a wonderful technology, formed a little teaming agreement in which we can help them position for the marketplace, get through some of the data gathering. And then, of course, it fits right into our selling channel. We can make a little money, help them, help us, help our customers. That's a win-win.
That's what it's all about. Win-wins all around. So let's shift a bit towards that clean energy arm of BioLargo's business.
Yeah.
The company recently announced a third-party evaluation confirming key advantages of the company's Solensity battery that you mentioned.
Right.
What are those advantages, and how does it position BioLargo?
Well, the third-party validation is critical. We acquired this technology. It's got a little backstory. The inventors came from the University of Tennessee originally, prominent professors, electrochemists, genius people. There was a whole team. A couple of them passed away, actually. So the business kind of stopped. Very sad story. One of the co-inventors, the son of one of the leaders, saved the technology, brought it to us. And so this is a situation where there was 8+ years of R&D before we got involved.
Wow.
And that's
that almost gave me chills, that it was going, and then unfortunately, what a disruption to that.
To the whole team, and the family, of course. Well, but the beauty, right, and timing's everything, right? The innovation is easy to say, it's hard to do. In this case, the timing is now. There was an article published in The Economist about 4 or 5 months ago about the next $1 trillion business. Okay, and the next $1 trillion business is long duration energy storage. Long duration energy storage. That's batteries that you can draw energy from for a long period of time. Grid scale. That's grid scale batteries. You see that little image behind me? You see that? That's a little forward looking, right? But that's our Salinity battery factory. And we developed a business model that says, don't sell batteries, sell battery factories. Think about that for a minute, right? What are we saying? We're saying that we have a tool and a toolkit, very highly qualified technical people, and we're putting people in the battery business, our joint venture partners. It's a JV strategy. Why is that important? It allows for global scale. Right? We can do these anywhere in the world, right? Because we're leveraging the capital and the resources of our partnership. And what you find out is the energy field is so ripe. This is right in line with the current administration's rebuilding high-tech manufacturing, job creation, net export, workforce development, energy resiliency, storage to support AI. Okay, this is the most timely asset with literally a multi-billion-dollar future for our company. It's a big deal. Now, it starts with great technology. That was your question. I got a little distracted. It starts with great technology. If you don't have a technical winner, all this dreamy vision of what you can do with partnerships and building doesn't work. Okay, so what's the advantage? That third-party validation essentially gave us the tool to say that the data that we present to the market is true. That's it. In other words, we're not making it up.
Right.
And this battery technology has an extraordinarily high energy density. It's a battery that has no self-discharging. It's got no runaway fire risk. It's got fully recyclable components, no lithium, no cobalt, no nickel, and it operates at 95% round trip efficiency. Yeah, no, this is a big deal. Okay,
yeah, that's a huge deal. I mean, if we're talking about batteries now, are you talking about all types of batteries? Like at some point, maybe like a phone battery, a Tesla like electric car battery.
No, this is a bigger battery. It's meant to go somewhere and stick around. Now, it could be in
Gotcha.
shipping. So, for example, freighters, you might put it in that kind of situation. Big transport, potentially even locomotives, that sort of thing. But the reality is the hot market is supporting AI expansion for data centers. And what you realize when you do your homework is the supply of energy is insufficient to meet the growing demand. That's the bottom line. There's not enough energy. There's not enough storage. And if you're going to do this massive infrastructure and pull on the grid at such an enormous rate, battery storage is mission critical. It is a component of the AI boom. And so this
Absolutely.
is right. So this is like we are right in the sweet spot. And so the question that you always ask, and one of my dear friends, I said, "Hey, we've got this battery opportunity." He says, "Oh my God, you're going to blow all this money." And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. People will pay us to put them in the battery business. So you got to track that because it's a very different way of thinking. Instead of saying, I'm going to go drop $250 million, no,
Right.
I'm going to help people get in the battery business, get paid all the way through. And of course, we bargain for a piece of the action and we get a royalty. Well, guess what? That's a globally scalable model. So when we run our net present value on the formulation of that, these factories will do about $500 million a year. We've got 4 MOUs signed for 11 factories. We've got 2 MOUs coming. Now you got to get the MOU into contract, right? So not trying to advance. We got to move from idea to now definitive contract, hard money, deposits, financing. But what you find is that this industry is there's so much demand that we can get money from hundreds of different places to make these work. I was on the phone with an economic development with one of the U.S. territories just last week. And they said, we probably can put up 95% financing. Now, here's the thing. Think about this. That 95% financing doesn't go to my balance sheet. It goes to my partner's balance sheet. Okay, why is that important? The day we start, we make money. The day
Right.
we start, we make money. And we leverage the technology to create commerce on a global scale. So we've got projects in Northern Europe, Northern Africa, Mexico, Canada, Nevada, New Jersey.
Everywhere.
It's unbelievable. And what you find out is that the world is starved for a better battery. And by the way, ours is a 20-year battery, no self-discharge. 20-year battery, no self-discharge. That means that there's no degradation internally to watch this battery decay over time. It's imperceptible, right? So an enormous value proposition for the world. We've got the cutting edge, and now we've got a business model to really support it. Got partners, customers coming at us with money, and so it's really a scramble.
Yeah.
And we've got our other businesses we're running. I mean, it's really quite a challenge.
I was going to ask you if you don't mind covering just really briefly now, and we'll wrap up this interview.
Sure.
Is it Clara Medical or Clyra?
Clara, yeah.
Clara. So Clara Medical Health, I know it's BioLargo's medical subsidiary, is also very busy. I see you also had a series of agreements to advance sales and distribution to medical products to the U.S. and abroad. What types of products and what are you guys working with there?
Yeah, this is focused on infection control and wound healing. So wound care, infection control. So it goes in the surgical suite. It's the kind of tool that allows for a surgeon to apply this in the body, track this in the body, in the wound, so that it can help mitigate infection risk. So it reduces infections and a better patient outcome. So we have a partnership with a global giant. It's awesome. They've actually required that we don't give their name out yet. So we'll be discussing that as soon as the products are actually ready for launch. We're in the final stages of that. We did invest very heavily, a little over $4.5 million in the last 18 months or so to build out infrastructure for the launch. They're very busy. Clear's got an incredible team assembled of technical experts. And we believe that business really can ramp up to a valuation north of $500 million over the next 2 years.
Wow. So of the markets BioLargo operates in and everything you mentioned, which one do you think is going to bring the most revenue now and in the future? What are the growth drivers of BioLargo?
Well, so it's really interesting. We have a slide we talk about often. That's the unseen value, right? When you think about our business model, we do a lot of preliminary investment to get ready for the show. And the show's a big show. We're aiming really high, right? So de-risk, position product, get through regulatory, validate the channel, find the partner, make the deal, prepare to launch, and then launch. The beauty in the business model is that when you finally get to that launch pad, it's extraordinary growth. It's such a high margin proposition because essentially we've preloaded all these assets with R&D. And that's one of the reasons when you look at our company, you go, what's going on over here? What are you guys doing? It's like, we're loaded for bear, brother. That's what we're doing. And we're not messing around. And so when you think about the catalyst, often people will say, gosh, you got all these shots on goal. It's like, no. They're all going in the net. They're all going to go in. So it's one of those businesses where patience is critical because it's taking a long time, a lot of money, but really it's a stock you want to buy and hold. You don't want to trade it. It's on a smaller market. Now we've got nice net shareholder equity. We just got approval from our shareholders to consider, not to take action, but to consider uplisting to a NASDAQ level or greater. And of course, the piece of that puzzle is to get some appreciation in the valuation because the stock's really cheap.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
great company.
Buy low, sell high, right? Pretty basic. Right. And we're long, of course. Everybody in the company's long. We really believe in what we're doing. And again, it doesn't mean we haven't had our bumps. This is not an easy road to hoe. It's a hard road. But the vision is so big and so real and so right here in front of us. So I really hope people will peel the onion, ask the hard questions, read our Q's and our K's for all the risk factors. There's a bunch, but we overcome, right? So it's a great time for the company.
That's fantastic. Dennis, thank you so much for being here today and answering the questions, giving everybody information about BioLargo. Guys, ticker BLGO. Fantastic. Dennis, you're great. Your company's great. I'm excited to have you on again in the future and really see how things develop for you.
Go team, baby. Love it.
That's it. Awesome. Zingers, hope you guys enjoyed that all access interview. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We're going to bring on the storyteller traders now. Let's bring them on.
Story trading. I'll take
Story
care
trading.
of it.
I apologize.
No problem. Good stuff there on the interview. Kev, we'll see you next time. And We'll see you on Futures Fever coming up here, right?
That's right. 30 minutes. I'll see you guys
all right.
there.
Go prepare. Thanks, Kev. That is Kevin for All Access BioLargo. The ticker is BLGO. Let's not waste any more time and bring on the story trading folks. Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather. Guys, I'll be very, very brief. I know we used up a couple of minutes of your time here. I'm sorry about that. CPI and PPI is behind us. BMNR, a recent runner, as a Peter Thiel investment. Yeah. What are you guys looking at, and what do you guys got going today?
Yeah, we were all over that BMNR and all the Ethereum treasury plays, Godfather especially. So we'll be talking about that. Lots of exciting things, Ryan.
Amazing. Also, Godfather got a shout out this morning on one of the stocks. I'm sorry, it happened so long ago, I forgot what the ticker was, but if Jay Rice is still here, please give that shout out to the Godfather. Take it away, Ben.
Wow. Okay. Sure. I don't want to talk too much about macro because we got an epic show of stock picking for you and some great stuff from the Godfather. But I'm just looking at this gold spiking on Powell, on Powell either being fired or resigning, and I got to chase that a little bit because I get the thesis, I get the logic behind that. So anyway, just grab some calls for Monday. 310, a little bit late. I should have acted faster. But in any case, look, Godfather, I'm so excited to talk about these specific stocks. I don't want to waste too much time in this. It's a huge week economically, though. We had CPI yesterday, mixed numbers there. PPI today coming in light, but the revisions went up. We have Netflix earnings tomorrow. We have all consumer sentiment data, I think, on Friday. So it's a huge week. I'm going to try to say this fast, and hopefully you can give your comments fast. I've been worried for since the July 4th weekend. I've been very cautious, and I've kind of been on a yellow alert because I've noticed the breadth has been very poor, and it's actually cost me because I was worried about that poor breadth. I had not been playing with confidence and swinging positions confidently. So actually, we've had a lot of huge bangers in the last couple of weeks, but I didn't really participate until today. Okay, so today's a big day for me. But let me just leave it there. Look, the individual stocks are working right now if you're in the right sectors. Right sectors are rare earths, Ethereum treasury, drones, certain AI stocks with that NVIDIA news. And maybe copper, those sectors are working and not much else is working. Okay. Maybe things are changing a little bit with the CPI, PPI, and now that this Powell going off, but I think I kind of made a mistake, Brett and the Godfather, worrying too much about the macro. I left we got to put up a blog at some point just to talk about my thoughts and personal experiences. But more often than not, for me, focusing on macro is just like a waste of time and it misdirects you. There's only been a few times in my entire life where it was really meaningful. It was like the dot-com bust. It was the 2008 financial crisis. It was the COVID crash. It was the tariff crash. It was this period after COVID, like 2022, 23, I think it was, when all the growth stocks and small caps crashed for like a year straight because of higher interest rates. Aside from that, it's just all noise, and it can really distract you from being in great stocks with great catalysts. So I kind of fell for that the last 2 weeks, and I missed making life-changing money, which some people in our Discord did. So with that, I don't want to worry too much about the macro. I know August is coming up, and I'm going to be a little more cautious into August, but I'll leave it at that. Godfather, quick comments on macro, because I really want to get into these individual stocks, and we started late as well here.
Yeah, look, don't beat yourself up too much with that, because look, we all know that July, when you look at the summer months, is the strongest. August is typically weaker than July. The first 2 weeks of July are typically the strongest.
Not just weaker,
July.
but 2 of the last 3 years, August has been like a disaster, like down like 10, 15%.
Yeah, and September historically is even tougher than August. And then we get this sort of October to December, melt up period typically. Look, there's always going to be something in the market to worry about: geopolitical tariffs, these economic numbers that come every week. What's the Fed going to do now? Who's the Fed governor going to be, or who's the Fed chair going to be? At the end of the day, the indices are a big PE ratio, and the markets are forward-looking. And so I'm looking at what are the earnings estimates for 6 to 12 months from now. That's what I'm looking at. And the best quarter we had last year was Q3. Earnings rose on average 15%. Well, Goldman's numbers for next year are Q1 26, 10%, Q2 16%, Q3 15%, and Q4 13%. So you got double-digit earnings growth starting in 2026. And that's where the market is starting to focus now. So with that kind of a backdrop, I think you're fine with your long-term holds. And in the meantime, when you've got the market popping off like it is right now in these theme rallies, whether it's LiDAR or drones or
LiDAR,
nuclear
nuclear.
Yeah. Or right now, these crypto treasury plays, right? We all know that stable coins are the latest thing that's captured the market's attention with the Genius Act and all these regulations that are supporting that. All these things are being built on Ethereum. So you're starting to see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin. So, crypto has really been a one-man show.
Let me take it from there. I'm going to set you up for that Ethereum play right now. This is an epic show, guys. Tune in right now. You don't want to miss this. I want to start with just highlighting some of these plays have been life-changing. MP, I know at least one person making life-changing money here the last 2 days with the great analysis we're providing in the morning note every morning. And Coors, another one that made huge gains. We're talking 6 figures plus for many different people in our Discord. And that was all thanks to the Godfather knows. Okay, you can see what Coors did up here. He predicted a buyout from CoreWeave, and we got it. And I have to say, this next pick, BTBT, these next 3, by the way, is something that, we kind of share. We're in all of these. The fundamentals of BTBT, like miners and things like that, Ethereum stuff, the fundamentals, not for me, but I look at it, things from additional angles, catalyst, sentiment, technicals. So when Godfather and I agree, it's really epic. And these following 3 names, we agree on all of them: BTBT, Berna, and Unfi. We've both done a lot of work on Berna and Unfi, and Godfather a lot more work on BTBT. But I'm setting you up by saying we've had 2 recent life-changing kind of predictions on MP and Coors, where people have been making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, on plays like this in our community. And now I want to propose here that BTBT is the next one. It's up 17%. We were all over this the last few days, thanks to you. And then this morning and last night, I gave a very strong signal myself because there were additional catalysts. Peter Thiel last night, IPO spinoff this morning, Ethereum price blowing up. So I gave my signal on this too, and this is my largest position. I'm going to let you take it away from here and spend as much time as you want on BTBT, because let me make this proposal for you guys listening to this show now. If you like this thesis that Godfather's about to give you and you end up making sick money on it, then you got to join our Discord after that. You go to storytrading.com. Better yet, go to Godfather's profile on X, SMantle, and you can join through there via special discount code. Okay. And that's our offer for you today. Listen up to this one. We're like the fastest growing Discord on FinTwit right now. We've gained like 100 new subscribers in the past few weeks. So things are really blowing up for us. But Godfather, take it away. Spend as much time you want out of this remaining 17 minutes we have on BTBT. If we get to burn on Unfi, great. And I have another one after that. If we don't, that's fine. So take it away.
Sure. I'm sure most of the folks that are watching this are aware of the performance of names like GAME, GAME, names like BTCS, BMNR, SBET. These have been some of the top performers, top volume active names, top dollar volume active names in the last few days. And again, this is all play on, well, ETH is outperforming. These are all ETH treasury plays. But look, this is a bull market phenomenon. The market is concentrated in a few of these names. They're working, and as long as they're working, it's kind of a enjoy the party but stand close to the door situation. What's happening here in these names right now, and again, I don't know how long this is going to last. Nobody does, but as long as it's lasting, there's money to be made. These guys can continue to raise money as much as possible accretively, as long as they're trading at a premium to the value of their underlying holdings. And there'll be a spreadsheet. It's just been so busy trading, I haven't been able to put the final crossing of T's and dotting of I's on it, but that shows these premiums, and they're outrageous. You're talking about 5 times in terms of market cap versus the actual value of the holdings in ETH. So every dollar they can issue via an ATM or by treasury offerings and purchasing ETH, of course, it also drives up the price of ETH, right? So, but just look at SBET, for example. This thing is right now trading at 4.3 times the value of its underlying ETH holdings. They have a very active ATM, as does BTBT. BTBT has a $500 million ATM. There is, or prior to this upcoming quarter, so since the last quarter, they had announced that they had taken down about 80 million on that. So there's like 420 million left. They also just closed a treasury offering for, I think it was 67 million or something. What they haven't done at this point is announce their ETH purchases. So they're sitting at 100,000, which sets them, I think, number 3. Yeah, so SharpLink right now is at 280,000, SBET, ETH, BMNR with their most recent purchase is sitting at 163,000, and BTBT is sitting at just over 100,000. They will announce.
Sorry to cut you guys off, but big news just hit. I don't know what it is.
Big news hit. Oh well, Powell must now officially be gone. That's my guess. Looking at this, I'm not sure why the markets crash on that, but gold loves it. I got into the gold call options at the start of the show here. Do you want to just confirm that? I'm guessing. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
I'm looking into it now, guys.
Probably resigned.
Okay, just interrupt me as you need to. So
really quickly, sorry to interrupt you guys. I see no headlines on that.
Really?
On Powell resigning.
I don't see any either.
None.
Well,
Trump likely to fire Powell soon, White House official says.
Yeah, I'm
I
taking
say a lot of things.
I'm taking a 50% profit on these gold calls I bought at the beginning of the show right now, guys. All right, go ahead, Godfather.
So look, the only name that isn't trading at a premium to its ETH holdings is BTBT. And this is anomalous to me for a couple of reasons. Firstly, they are the only company that has substantial assets outside of ETH holdings, including the white fiber division. Now, their white fiber division has data centers in Iceland, in Montreal, and in North Carolina. They are going to IPO this. They filed the S3 registration statement Friday after close. they've announced that they want to raise 100 million. They've also announced that
But
they want
that
to
press
retain
release came out
80%.
this morning.
Was there another press release on it this morning? Okay, so yeah, it's happening
Yeah.
imminently. So that implies a value of 500 million. You only have to look at the share price performance of NBIS, the share price performance of CRWV. These are the only two pure play data centers out there. The closest next thing is Cores, which is now part of CRWV. And then you've got, CIFR, you've got Iron, you've got all of these other Bitcoin miners that are taking megawatts away from Bitcoin mining and redeploying them in high performance compute that are, quasi data center plays. So I would posit that this thing at 500 million market cap is going to do extremely well as an IPO. The trailing revenues on this thing are 60 million. They are going to be ramped up to about 70. If you look at their actual plan, it's 76 megawatts by fourth quarter of 26, but that's subject to further expansion. And they have a total pipeline of 1.3 gigawatts.
So wait, I'm not sure. Let me just emphasize what you're saying. I'm not sure everyone caught that. Not only is BTBT an Ethereum play, right, that's trading at a discount compared to peers for the Ethereum treasury, but they have like a sum of a parts story here with some sort of AI data center play that's spinning off as well, right? And we're talking.
Yeah, no, but there's more. They also have Bitcoin mining, which they've announced that they're going to get out of that business, but they're still mining Bitcoin profitably. And I would presume that some of the megawatts that are dedicated to that will again be converted to HPC. So look, as shareholders of BTBT, you're going to get the lift from the White Fiber, which is their data center IPO. You're going to get a lift from their ETH purchases. And here's the other thing. I've been analyzing very closely the volume. If you look at BTBT versus BMNR, BTCS, SBET, all the rest of it, it's lagged. People are like, well, why is this thing lagging so much? Partly, I think it's because they've been very aggressive quietly under their ATM. And if you look at what they can do maximum, I've done the math, it suggests to me that not only are they going to announce an ETH purchase with their 65 or 67 million from this equity deal, but I think they're actually going to announce that they've been buying ETH with the ATM proceeds as well. So look, to be in the game now, they have to be over 200,000 ETH. And I think you're going to see that very, very quickly. So, and I think that's imminent. It's a matter of days here. So you've got multiple catalysts here on BTBT with the IPO, with the announcement of further ETH purchases, etc.
Yeah.
That is the story in a nutshell.
Okay, great. And I'm gonna put a bow tie on it from a story trading 4-pillar perspective. Looking at, you just covered the fundamentals. I also look at catalyst, sentiment, and technicals, and we have so many. We have like stacked catalysts here. I'm going back and forth looking at gold because you know what? Let me just sell a few more gold. I don't have too many. I only got like 10 contracts, but okay. Not only do we have the fundamentals there, but we have multiple catalysts. We have or sentiment and catalysts right here. We have the sentiment of Ethereum breaking out and the whole ETH, sector breaking out. We have Peter Thiel. It's taking a 9.1% stake in BMNR last night, which is good for the whole sector and increases speculation. I mean, just think about that, right? It validates the sector, speculation. He could get involved with other ones. There's all kinds of positive ramifications.
That thing is wildly overvalued.
Yeah.
Wildly
and if it's getting
overvalued.
9,
Peter Thiel, nice for him. He got his stock at $4.50.
Yeah, and that's
I think $45.
Oh wow.
Anyway.
Okay, so but in any case, we have the IPO spinoff this morning. That I guess maybe there's some filing that you knew about it, but a press release came out on a filing. So this is like catalyst on top of sentiment, on top of fundamentals. And then the technicals don't look too amazing yet. And I have to say, if you're right about this, you got to zoom out and look at the weekly chart, because to really get a breakout like we've seen with these other peers, this stock would probably have to break, 580, 590, get into the 5s or 6s, up in the 6s to kind of look like some of these other charts. Would that be fundamentally warranted if it goes up into that area?
Look, if you take the SBET valuation and you put it on BTBT, you get a number north of $7.
Okay.
Is that fair value? Well, it's fair value on
Relative.
a pure comparable term. Is it fair value in terms of fundamentals? Well, none of these things are trading at fair value in terms of fundamentals, except for BTBT right now. So everything else is getting a premium. Why shouldn't they also get a premium?
Okay. And what if? But they also have this data center, and the Bitcoin mining. If we take away the Ethereum premium and we just value it based on the value of the Ethereum plus the value of the Bitcoin mining business plus the value of the spinoff, what's the sum of parts look like on that? Like, what I'm trying to figure out, what's the bottom, what's the low end here in terms of risk reward?
We're here right now.
There you go.
We're here right now.
That's beautiful.
You can liquidate all of these assets, but again, I think that's conservative because it suggests that 500 million will be the max value for.
So what you're talking about is optionality upside. But they do have that ATM running. But again, they run that ATM and they buy ETH with it. It's kind of a wash, right?
Well, no, it's more than a wash. It's actually accretive, to the extent that they start trading at a premium.
Right.
So
yes, that's
yeah, and again, I think it's trading at a discount here because I believe they're sitting on an actual ETH position well in excess of 100,000. Like I said, I think they're waiting to announce a big purchase, combining both the treasury offering, which just closed yesterday, and all these ATM purchases. I could be wrong on the ATM side of things, but the trading flows certainly suggest to me.
Yeah, and to me, this whole story sounds very similar to Core's and how you guided our community on Core's. So I'm betting on a repeat of that. All right, we'll see.
And I think you'll see some of the money come out of SBET and come out of BMNR and come out of GAME and come out of BTCS, because people will start to realize that, oh my God, we're paying 5 times the actual value of the underlying ETH, which what can they do with it? They can stake it and make 4 to 5% yield on it. But if you want exposure to ETH, buy an ETH ETF. Buy a levered ETH ETF. You're going to get better pure play exposure. So it really doesn't make a lot of sense. But with BTBT, you're getting pre-IPO exposure to white fiber, and I think this thing is going to rock in the market because there's only 2 publicly listed pure play data centers.
Yeah, and the other one's Nebius, right? NBIS.
Nebius
and Nebius, by the way, got a huge upgrade from Goldman Sachs the other day. That's why it was a top pick yesterday, like a $68 price target. All right, man, I'm looking at this.
There's some news out on GME too.
Okay, quick. What's the news on that?
Their NFT X handle is changed to Push Start Arcade and is starting to pick up trending on X and all that right now.
Okay.
So.
I don't know what the implication of that is. You might, but we'll cover that in a Discord if people are interested. Man, not a lot of time left. I just want to point out, let me point out one quick stock here that's working for me today. BAM. I really don't know the company well, but they had a big deal with Google yesterday for some sort of energy assets in Pennsylvania, like largest deal of its kind, something like that. It didn't really play out yesterday too much. Open green candle today. Look at this cup breakout. I'm in some $55 weekly calls, 57.74. That looks like a breakout level. It's dipped below it right now just a little bit, but maybe the swing moves to $60 in the next couple of days. So take a look at that if you're interested. We only have 4 minutes. I don't know. Like, can you give 2 minutes to burn and 2 minutes to untie?
If this Powell news is true, this should be a huge tailwind for cryptos, right? It suggests lower rates, which suggests a lower US dollar, which means greater value on a relative basis, cryptos versus US dollar.
Really quickly, just to jump in here on the news, it appears as if the headlines that are coming out now about Trump firing Powell were rehashed headlines from last night. As far as I can tell, there's nothing new in these headlines. They're just being rehashed and the market is responding to it.
Yeah, I see in the comments.
And the other thing that hasn't happened yet that's due to happen here is the vote, right? The vote that
was supposed to be this morning, got delayed again.
Yes. I can't find anything on that vote actually taking place. That is correct. It did not go through last night, and I guess was supposed to be voted. I guess there was a meeting last night that they were going to have enough votes. That has not taken place yet today.
Okay, and
Right. So that's an additional catalyst here, right? You've got, if you believe Trump saying they've actually got the votes and this thing is going to pass. So again,
And
another
we have a
reason to
comment
be-
from Jonathan Cooper here. I don't know if it's new, but he says President Trump suggested that a $2.5 billion renovation plan at the Federal Reserve might be sufficient cause to fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell and an escalation of reserve tax. So I don't know if that's rehashed from earlier.
rehash.
That's
That's
not
not
new.
new.
So yeah, that's interesting that the market all of a sudden decided to dump on that. And you know what? This gold daily chart looks nice, but I don't know. We got 2 minutes. Is there anything else anyone wants to add here in the last 2 minutes?
Well, we could talk about rare earths. We could talk
We
about
could talk about
METC.
a
We could talk
billion
about
things, right?
Unfi.
We could talk about our Discord.
then,
Hey,
of course,
Rhett, why don't you tell people who are at Discord so they find out how to talk about all these things? Because we've been crushing it lately.
Yeah, so they can head on over to our X handles that are all in our display names right here, as they can see on the live stream, or they can head over to storytrading.com, or they can head over to the Godfather Knows link tree. That's also
And
in
just
the
a
bio.
quick, what do they get for that? Why don't you run that down?
So what they get from that, I mean, they get all our insights. So they get the Godfather's DD. He has his room. Then you also have your morning note that you get that provides alpha to community every single day. I mean, we do live trading from 9 a.m. all the way till 10 a.m.
That morning note, by the way, is a PDF that I spend several hours a day writing, and I deliver it usually definitely by 7 a.m. every morning.
And there's actionable trade ideas every morning.
There are multiple fully archived due diligence channels. Myself, several other guys are very active in adding to penny channels. We've got alerts for day traders, for swing traders, for long-term ideas. Ben's pre-market prep video, a half hour before the market opens every morning, cannot be missed, along with the morning letter. And then, of course, your daily, the deep dive investment ideas that we do, and then the live trading sessions that you do. On top of all that, we've got a super active chat room and forums. And then, of course, you've got your modified wheel put selling portfolio and all of that, which gets updated when time.
Yes,
permits.
the when time permits is correct. I kind of went away from put selling for a while because the market's so hot, but we'll get back to that in the right time. All right, Ryan, what's up?
I've got to be honest with you. You guys did a great job. You covered a ton in the short amount of time that you had there. Wild stuff.
I just freaking sold my gold calls like a second ago, and it just exploded. All right. Whoa, something must be happening. All right. Anyway.
Sorry. Yep. Trying to do it live here. It does look like the market tried to bounce there, but is returning to lows. I haven't seen any other new headlines. So again,
gold up 1.4%. That's pretty massive.
Okay, guys,
right.
really good
Trump
job.
has drafted a letter to fire. Here's the latest headline: Trump has drafted a letter to fire Powell.
There you go. So someone knew about it. That's what it is.
Okay, really good stuff here, guys. You guys did another great job, and getting a lot of comments on how many winning ideas you guys are giving out. So keep up the good work. We'll catch you next week. All right, folks?
Sounds
Take
great.
care.
Thank
See you
you.
inside the-
Bye.
All right,
Cheers.
that is Ben, Rhett, and the Godfather. Awesome stuff from Story Trading. As per usual, we're going to send you over to Futures Fever with Kevin now. Perfect timing because the futures are selling off. Kevin will walk you through that. You don't have to go anywhere. Just sit here. I'll end the stream and send you over there. We'll be back at this.